Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Get rid of my Twitter and my league. Okay. Um, can't let me figure out how to do this for a minute. My headset's kind of low, but it only takes like 10 minutes to fully charge. Thanks for being patient. Um, let's see. Will I play something? I have no sound. There we go. Okay, so I just switch it over to. Oh, that's funny. Default, and it should. Okay. Oh, that's what's up. I should probably open up my Discord too. For Emery, I'll give him a tag real quick. Emery. Looks like a tennis ball with a head. Yeah, I was gonna run out to go get some caffeine. Actually, I gotta order it now because I think my battery died, or it's really cold and I had to have to pop the hood and all that. And so instead of dicking around with it, I just decided to come back in. But I'm still wearing my hoodie. It's probably gonna come off soon. Um, it's gonna warm up in here soon, I think. Uh, but I was gonna watch the Destiny Jontron one. Try to get early insight into how things don't go good between Destiny and other people. But um got brought up the other day and I didn't think about it for a while now. Um until yesterday when it got brought up that I my video about mrgirl and Destiny talking about Fuentes never got like I streamed it, but YouTube like didn't accept it. They have it, but they won't put it out. Uh, like you can't view it, and I also can't like re-download it or whatever. And I think I only went over a part of it. Like I did like 2 hours of it, and then I had COVID, so it wasn't like super easy to keep going with stuff. So I'm probably gonna go over those. You just bear with me for like a minute or two. I'm gonna get some. I need some caffeine delivered to me. Bad. Wait, why does everything have a delivery fee? And then I assume by that time that my headset should be good for like 8 hours. I get like every 10 minutes it's plugged in, I get like 3 hours out of it. That's pretty cool. Oh, I just dropped it. Okay. So if that's amenable, that's what I'm gonna do. The uh the selection of video, not the caffeine thing. You guys can't stop me from that. Uh, credit card work today. Hell yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I can't see none of the kick stuff. I don't understand this. Why does Kick keep doing this to me? Like, it wants to decide what my category is even after I select it. And I don't understand that. Like, yesterday I kept switching it to that guy's um, game, Papa Guts, dumb balloon tower defense game. And I'm like, I don't want this. Uh, Nobody's gonna watch any of my shit if this is what they think I'm doing, and that's exactly how that went down. Every time I looked and I had like one viewer, it was selected as his fucking balloon game. All right, cool. Oh, it'll get here fast too. This is very good news. I got some caffeine and some pita and hummus and ice cream. Oh my god. What? Oh no. Bear with me. Okay. So, YouTube. Um, Actually, is there. Do you think he'd still have it? I'd rather give him the view, right? Oh shit. Uh. Oh, okay. I see how it is. I don't know if it goes that far back. That was a year ago. Oh my gosh. It really was that long ago. Oh, nope. It doesn't go back far enough. We tried, right? Big C. Maybe you can help me. Is this is the first one of it? Yeah. I believe it's a three-parter. I think it goes here, here, and then no, here. Hmm. I know you know this. Okay, yeah, this is the first one.
It matters to me.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, I accidentally uh instead of giving my dasher a $4 tip, it said 9 and I had to try to fix that cuz I'm like, "Oh, that's uh that's a lot more money than I have for that." Oh, that's cool. They were like, "Hey, actually, you can go fuck yourself." So I guess that's what I'll do. I wish I knew where my actual hat was.
me because he wants to kill me. And then we can admit that it would be a 3v1 dogpile.
I'm a big boy. That's okay. Go.
You, okay? I am not
No,
doing
actually,
that, right?
f you, mother. You.
No,
I thought the
f
for
you
this
more.
conversation. I thought our plan was to.
Man, I kind of miss Chud's VTubers. It'd be cool if every once in a while he went back to it just for the fun of it. Okay, Abel is on the second one?
Talk
Listen, you
about
fucking retard.
I don't think that you can betray your values in service of defending those values. If I believe that liberalism works as a concept, as an idea, it has to work when it's the most difficult. If you're willing to abandon some principles in times of great crisis, then those are principles that you
I gotta
never
move
held
my
in
chat
the
down
first
here so I
place.
can see you guys.
So if I think that liberalism
better.
is as sturdy an ideology as I'd want it to be, or as I believe it to be, then ideally those principles should serve as the mast on your ship that carries you through that storm. If you've got to toss it aside and go, okay, well, hold on, time to be authoritarian right now because shit's not working, then your whole political project just fucking failed anyway.
No,
you
right
you
before-
suggested that because Destiny shit talked.
I did,
what
but-
the f are you on about?
Will you get rid of him?
Oh, shit.
I don't.
Hey, Kick, how's it going?
This is it, mate. This is an intervention. Okay, we've had enough.
It is. That's right.
That's fine.
You got
that's
some
good.
peoples.
Mr. Girl's just tired of me ambushing him with people like Lav and Dan constantly, and now he's gonna come back on me for it. That's good. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
You ready to get?
Elkenstein said, I can't watch Chuddy. Reminds me of the tabloid papers in the UK. Are they that much different than the tabloid papers in the US? I remember growing up, one of the big tabloid figures was Bat Boy. Everybody would see Bat Boy around, and then like Bat Boy kills like somebody trying to kill like the Queen or something like that. It was wild. And Bat Boy and Bigfoot stopped the apocalypse, that kind of stuff.
Backstabbed.
Chud.
My video audio is 2 clicks too low. Okay, it's actually pretty low here. Let's turn it up.
Chud is the new Lav.
Well, do you know Bat Boy?
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not that
This is- you
retarded.
only
Wait,
know
no,
UK
sorry, I didn't mean
ones?
that. No, I can't. Stop making me say jokes and shit. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
trying to be
don't use
serious.
the R word. Okay, Vosha subreddit declared that not a good thing earlier today. So, and you're about to scold me. So, also,
Okay, so you
I'm on good
mentioned
terms with
Ico,
Lav, so I
Merrick,
don't
and Bosch.
condone. I don't condone you making fun of her. So, I would also like to
Okay.
disavow that. Yeah.
Wow. Can you imagine? We're in a whole different dimension now. Everybody's still chill with Lab.
You have fucking mentioned Ico, American Vosh. Anyone else that you got beef with that you want to bring up?
Merrick, Vosh, the Surfs was tweeting me. That guy, I can't
Yeah.
really bully him because it's literally ableism. Who else
Okay.
was tweeting me? Some that not Xander Hall, but some other Zareth dude, some fucking loser. Oh, there's some guy online I see all the time that I think is you, but it's not. It's like Chud, not Chad or something. Who am I thinking of?
I know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking loser is tweeting about me. Sockton Left was tweeting. You know, they're all hungry for me. They all want a piece of the king. But anyway,
Okay.
Urban Dictionary says a magazine full of gossip and made-up stories, usually written by bums who can't get a job at a normal magazine industry. Chud is like a flashlight sex toy. It's good at first, but then it just gets old and crusty. You know you're supposed to wash them, right? I get it. Right after you use it, you're tired, you're exhausted, you don't feel like doing it, but you gotta wash it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to end up cleaning that shit out with carpet cleaner.
but I'm good. What's up?
Well, you've kind of ruined it by coming in. To be honest, we're having a good little chat.
Oh, well, I'm
But
sorry.
anyway,
Go ahead.
no, it's all good. Let's just.
We're talking about the phenomenon of Giga Chad. We're
Okay.
talking about how it
That's
used
why.
to be that people would make jokes pretending to be racist because they're making fun of racist people,
Yes.
and it's fun to get people
Those were some of the best jokes, though, honestly.
to call you racist for doing that. And you clearly enjoy this on Twitter. This happens a lot. You'll say something that sounds racist, but you're not really being racist. You're making fun of racist people. People call you racist, and it's funny to make fun of the people who flip out, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, but now you also have actually racist people using the same jokes and the same type of humor to promulgate their Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to a point where it's now soy to say that this type of semi-ironic expression is like cover for racism or to do really anything other than say Giga Chat or like one up the person is you're a loser if you do anything else, right?
True. Yes.
No.
I believe that certain people are taking advantage of this phenomenon, and it's kind of opened a window for uncontested Nazi rhetoric, as long as it's positioned as a joke, to kind of just like go free.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Chad, am I missing anything from your thesis here?
No, I mean, I think that's a pretty reasonable, view on it. And I think the issue becomes, number one,
I still like Chud like a lot at this point. Like I don't hate Chud or anything like that. But this is like, I thought Chud did a lot of. I liked his attitude and his like the way he went about streaming and stuff. I thought he had a really good blend of being funny and edgy and like also like responsible about it at the same time, and like maintaining his audience, keeping them from getting like too like wild and stuff. I thought this was like right around here was like the peak Chud era for me.
how do you discern, or how do you help your audience discern the difference between the two? And two, what if any wider impacts are there of this phenomenon? And like, what if any responsibility do content creators have? Because I hate responsibility, obviously, that's like boring and shit. But I just think it's an interesting discussion, and looking at recent events, is there any concerns or any issues that need to be addressed? That's
we
where I'm
got a
coming
couple
from.
from my chat. Max and Chud purity testing is kind of funny. Are you able to show an example? These are the responses we're getting.
By the way, sorry, Aiko was wanting to come in and clarify some of the positions.
It's always so boring because when she comes in, she backs off every single thing she said, and then she just...
And I just, I know...
Sorry. I can stream while I'm waiting for my caffeine. I ain't streaming without my nicotine.
People are sort of yearning for some content, and I'm happy to facilitate that, but
if she wants to, anybody can come in. I accept all challengers all time. Except for Ryan Dawson. Anybody, though. Anybody else.
Okay. I mean, Mr. Go, I don't... what do you think of that? I'm open either way. I just,
I believe...
This is the show where Chud is the stepchild. He is still trying to get the two daddies to love him.
I believe Aiko has said some pretty horrible things about me.
Yes! Bring her in, based queen!
Okay,
Content queen!
Wait. I feel like I just, I was interested in having like a serious...
It's on its way. It's on its way. To you saying make coffee. Shit. I lost it.
Hey, content queen!
Things about me.
Yes! Bring her in, based...
God damn it.
Anybody else?
Okay. I mean, Mr. Go, I don't... what do you think of that? I'm open either way. I just,
I believe Aiko has said some pretty horrible things about me.
Yes! Bring her in, based queen!
Okay,
Content queen!
Wait. I feel like I just, I was interested in having like a somewhat serious discussion, or, with
Well,
a
I
few
just wanted
memes.
to say, I'm just like, oh yeah, wait. I think there's a few things I need to...
When's the last time you seen Destiny with this much like positive energy coming out of him too? He looks really happy.
I'm not a impartial like speaker
like all
here, right?
frustrated
I
and
have strong
agitated.
feelings about Steven. I got feelings about you, Chud. I got feelings about Nick Fuentes. I got feelings about Aiko. So like, there's a lot of personal shit happening here. But do what you think is.
I'm okay with her coming in. I'll be serious.
right.
But if Max isn't, then we have to...
No, I'll be serious too. But I am already absolutely furious at her. But
Oh, Jesus.
I will try to manage that.
Well, the thing is, Max, is like, I know I've got a reputation as a drama farmer, and the reason I'm asking this is because I want to, take this somewhat seriously. And the thing is, Destiny spoke some shit on Aiko, and I'm one of those people that's like, well,
I haven't watched.
have you spoken some shit? Like
the Mystical deorbit. I have, but it's not the same. It's just not
respond.
the
I don't
same
know.
to me
So
anymore.
I'm not gonna decide. You're gonna decide, Max. Okay.
Shit talking is an yeah, sure, bring her in. But well, you know what I want to do? a lot of these orbiters, are us included, have a tendency to just kind of hang around after their part in the conversation is over. So let's get her in, let's have our discussion, and then let's get her out, because I don't want to have the rest of this conversation with her, because the whole point of this conversation.
Honestly, this is one of the most Giga Chat ass things that's said in the whole debate, I guess.
We're trying to create a new path where we're going to say some jokes and some platforming might actually be a bad idea, but we're not going to go full SJW and say you can't make racist jokes, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like she's going to fuck that up.
Okay, but I just want to confirm this is you've decided this, okay? Can I just confirm that?
I have decided that because shit was talked about Aiko, she should have the right to come in and defend herself for a length of time to be determined by you.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, President Sunday is also asking to come on, but I'm not. Listen, there's nothing to say about President Sunday.
No, that's just
silence.
That's just an ambush.
Do not say anything. Nothing. Okay, you're not allowed to say a single word. Okay. Aiko has been added, and Aiko can join the call
I don't remember
only.
Aiko being added.
Sunday ever wants to come too, he can come too. But yeah, okay, I'm okay with. But I won't say anything.
No.
You're saying if I start talking shit about him, you have to bring him in, right? That's like the secret code.
That's the secret code, yeah.
Well, no, I'm gonna listen. We're not gonna do that, okay? So you actually, no, I'm not gonna say that because you can talk shit about him.
I'm not gonna talk shit about him. I'm a respectable guy. Damn, chill.
Okay.
Although I will say, no, I'm just kidding. I'm good. Okay, I'm good. We're chill here. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, you said you stopped after Chud read the report. Did you watch Chud read the report, or did him reading the report make you stop? And so you're like, no, I'm not watching this and nothing else.
Chill. Anyway, listen.
They call me Chilla Vanilla, okay? Because that's what I am.
Okay. Let me just... Okay. Do you have any thoughts so far on anything that's been mentioned or discussed before we get Aiko in?
So many thoughts. I've spent like the better part of the last like 5 years arguing back and forth about this stuff. Yeah, for sure. There's lots of things to think about.
Okay. Can you give us like just one thought?
There has been a battle older than all of us on how to draw the lines at satire and irony. Every famous comedian that I know of that's engaged in edgy or racial humor has come to regret some skits and move back on positions they previously held. Chris Rock, the infamous Black People versus Ninjas skit. You've got Dave Chappelle talking about things he said that he's regretted because of the types of laughs he's gotten. YouTubers, every YouTuber, Twitch streamer that's grown up is like, man, I was probably too edgy here. Louis C.K. has had a lot of reflections like the word faggot. There's like a lot of stuff that's gone on where people have engaged in edgy humor and then upon further reflection like, oh, I think I'm gonna walk this back a little bit. I don't know if I'm engaging with it in the best way. So I think it's good to be aware that the conversation we're having is beyond us and it's been happening before us. It'll happen after us. And there is a level of, I'm big on responsibility. I think there is a level of responsibility you have to assume when you engage in these types of humors. And you have to be aware of like what your goal is at the end of the day with what you're doing, because it's very possible.
You know, Anthony Jeselnik, who's like one of the kings of edgy comedy, has said that if you get in trouble for making jokes, then you failed. He said that the art of it is getting away with it. That's why, like, Louis C.K., he has a joke with the N-word in it. Hard R and everything. Nobody cared because he was funny. He got away with it because he was funny. The Seinfeld guy, Kramer, he wasn't being funny. That's why he didn't get away with it.
Possible to very easily wind up as the like unintentional nuclear weapon of an incredibly hateful or evil community.
His reaction that he had to the things he already
without
knew.
Being aware that that's happening, you know. That's my kind of general thoughts on it. Yeah.
Because this happened with the kind of skeptic anti-SJW community, right? It was seemingly kind of memes and jokes at first with some of the things they were saying, and then some of them, like, unironically became, like, far-right weirdos.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, hey, guys, we're joking, right? And it's like, no, these guys aren't joking. There was that Edgy Sphinx person, I think, that specifically presented
The only one that I want to lie to me is the one who takes
themselves as a skeptic. And Kraut was friends with them, and then they turned it out to be a massive Nazi or some shit like that. So, you know. Sorry, Mr. Go on.
I kind of object to two things. One, Steven, I think comparing somebody like Fuentes or Trump, like these are the people that come to my mind when we're talking about right-wing jokes that are also the person saying what they actually believe, kind of. Comparing that to Louis C.K., like, he's a comedian, right?
Oh,
We
yeah, hold
don't
on. Wait, to be
have-
clear, just so I'm not comparing them to Louis C.K.
just
I'd be
talking
comparing
just
somebody
the
like
jokes.
I'd be comparing somebody like me to that person, right? Like, I'm hoping that I'm the comedian that's saying a thing that's kind of offensive, but I
But you're
don't
not a
actually
comedian.
believe.
You're a
You can,
But
cope,
you're-
you can cope like that if
every
you want,
time-
but
What's a
comedy is part of
comedian?
what we do, whether you
No,
like it or
I'm not
right?
coping, motherfucker. I'm
Okay.
saying that you
I remember how addictive Destiny's content is. I watched him a lot, decided to quit when I noticed how much I was watching. I quit. Then I watched him a tiny bit, and then before I knew it, it was full time. Then I was shocked at what happened and stopped it for real. Then I was shocked at what. Oh, okay, that one came through twice. I agree, Elk. Yeah, I found out that a buddy of mine like watched a bunch of Twitch pull stuff right after he stopped because he realized that like all he was doing was watching like Twitch pull stuff.
you're
I don't think it's ever been an issue for me because I always had watched it like when I was working or like if I'm like playing video games, it'll be on another monitor. So it's not like it kept me from doing what I was already doing. It was just something that I got to add to whatever I was already doing, and that was so like I've never felt like I'm losing out because of how much I engage with this space.
existence online is not. You're not a comedian. People don't you say who's Destiny. They don't say he's a
I take that back a little bit. For every once in a while, like I would just be like in my room
Comedian.
chilling, whoops, and I would watch like a Destiny video with my wife or something. But that would probably just be times we just spent like watching something.
You're
Anyways.
wrong. You're just wrong.
Right.
Right. People that do like
No,
YouTube and Twitch
actually, I'm
stuff for
right.
entertainment, right? That involve elements of comedy.
Yes.
That those aspects of comedy can involve
yes.
satire and irony. Satire and irony is not
Okay,
reserved
but
for people that write comedian on their text forms.
I'm not
right?
saying that. I'm not saying that is. I'm saying you're literal. When people ask, if somebody asks me who you are, who's your buddy Steven? I don't say he's a comedian.
Okay, maybe I'll phrase this in a way because I don't think there's no way you can possibly disagree with me here. So let me find
Just call
different
me
words.
stupid. Just
No,
let
it's
it,
not
let it
stupid.
flow.
It's we're playing like semantics games. When you do comedy, how about that? So not
Call me
comedians,
stupid.
but
Just
people
say
that
I'm
do
retarded,
comedy. Is that
bro.
okay?
Okay, it's okay, but
Okay.
it's different when Louis C.K. does comedy because he's doing it for the purpose of making people laugh, than when Trump does comedy or when you do comedy. You're doing it for the purpose of illustrating a political message. Now, comedians can do that. I'm not saying they're totally separate from each other, but your goal as like an entity.
I love Destiny's consistency. I knew that what his argument was before it came out of his mouth. It was like a lullaby to me. Yeah, I think Destiny's consistency is his greatest asset. too.
Is
See.
political commentary.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'm gonna go this, but I just totally disagree. Like comedians have been a vehicle for social critique for as long as they've existed. Richard Pryor, George
Absolutely.
Carlin, Dave Chappelle, like none of these things are just jokes. All of them are hitting at stuff that might have a deep underlying meaning, and
Kinda.
the comedy can still be used in the exact same ways that a series like you
I think it's a little bit less. I don't know. I don't know if it's less or actually it could be more brainwashy if you choose it. I'm not
You can
sure.
take an offensive Trump joke and breed hate the same way that you could take an offensive Chris Rock joke or Dave Chappelle joke or George Carlin joke and breed hate. Like all of these things can serve the same function in society of making people think or act or behave a certain way. They all have the same problems, whether you're an official capital C comedian or a Twitch streamer or YouTuber that does comedy, I think.
I guess, but I would say Dave Chappelle recently has started to not do comedy. He's making jokes, but he's more giving like a speech about his political beliefs. I would say he's becoming a political commentator. But the other people you mentioned, while their jokes are political, when you're a fan of them, you're not like, I really agree with them. I think he has a lot of really good takes. That's not
I had all my brainwashing tendencies.
that
Yeah,
I guess
support
yeah.
they're amassing.
I was gonna say, do you think
I
Destiny?
think some people could use some brainwashing. Some people got some brains that could use a good scrub, I think.
That like you know, your fan base and audience engages with you in the same way that they engage with, say, Louis C.K., for example.
Yeah, they could, absolutely, right? People joke about things, and then sometimes people will take those jokes and they'll run really far with them. They'll say like, yeah, the way that Cat Williams jokes about relationships is fucking true, it's true. People will say like, oh, like Dave Chappelle now, you know, now Dave Chappelle is making serious political commentary. He wasn't like that before. No, he absolutely was. There were parts across multiple skits. There's the one where he talks about like, how old is 15 really? And he's making jokes about Elizabeth Smart, but then he turns it around and he talks about black people and how they might be treated differently when they commit a crime at 15. And he talks about the kid that like killed his friend, you know, doing a...
I think I have an inclination to agree with Destiny here because it's technically true, but I know what Mr. Girl's talking about. Dave Chappelle is spending less time on jokes in more than historically speaking, and more time specifically putting out like a political message, which I don't think is bad either. I think he's very, very good at it.
Wrestling move and how he got arrested for being, you know, black, basically. Comedians have always intertwined like political commentary and everything with their comedy. That's like that's a tale as old as time. But
on the whole, though, Destiny's 100% correct. Oh, my caffeine is here. I think. Yes, my caffeine is in fact here. Give me 1 sec to go grab it off my porch. Oh. I've put this
regardless of that, again, whether you're a capital C comedian or not, people that engage in comedy, all of the same problems and benefits of engaging with problematic humor follow whether you're a comedian or not, right? Like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia was a TV show that engaged with a lot of problematic humor. Those people aren't comedians, but it was like entertainment and comedy. And then you could argue that YouTubers and Twitch streamers, everything do the same. You can engage with problematic humor in responsible ways and irresponsible ways, or even in responsible ways that are still ways that cause harm. It just depends on what we're talking about.
Sorry, Aiko's here, so Aiko, hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I got my hummus, and they didn't give me any pita. The fuck am I supposed to do with hummus and no pita? Good to read you, Emery. You're driving home now from your shift? Okay, cool. When you get in, just pop up in the chat and let me know that you're here, and then I'll put this on hold and we can talk.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to clarify because what I thought would happen happened. I don't. It's not about you as a person, Destiny. It's the sorry. It's the thing itself. I don't know why. I mean, I guess you kind of are lumping me in with the rest of the people that say they're on the left, but I don't know what everyone gets up to on Twitter. But my whole point is I want to point out the individual instances that happen without putting moral weight on it, and not within the framing of punishment. And I think that people see criticism as, I don't know, as like, oh, let's put them on trial. Should they be around or not? I have no problem with people's platforming. I don't want to tell people how to run their platforms. I want to support them in doing whatever is authentic to them. And I don't know. I was emotional because of personal stuff in relation to that. And it was upsetting that Nick Fuentes was able to get away a little bit with the, oh, I don't really hate people because I didn't realize.
Oh, I actually missed that. He has a dump truck. I don't know if that was your wife that wrote it. She might have told you to write it.
But a lot of people don't actually know Nick Fuentes. They don't know his history. Like
maybe
it's a lot longer ago than.
Wait, I know you said something to me about that the other day too, but she actually watched me too?
Feels like, or at least I don't know. did anything make sense? I don't know.
It was like the most non-committal like series of statements I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't know.
Okay.
What was even the point of?
I mean, honestly, okay, this is my problem.
Listen,
my problem,
let me help
hold
you,
on.
okay?
Okay.
I can help you really drill down into detail here, because it seemed like your concerns or criticisms when we spoke earlier was that in the course of this stream, there were some moments where you felt that Destiny didn't sufficiently push back on what Nick Fuentes was saying, right?
Yes. That's what I felt like.
So maybe we can focus on those moments.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm just observing it, and honestly, I just want things to not. I'm sorry. I guess it just the only reason why I'm here is because I get really fucking annoyed being essentialized by people that take clips and go and make it personal, when I really specifically don't want to talk about people's hearts and minds or their motivations. And everything gets grouped into people who hate Destiny or love Destiny or whatever. I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Like,
what about me, Aiko?
I have no problem with people who are like chill with you either.
But you've done multiple streams complaining about me, right? Saying bad things.
Oh
about
yeah,
I never
because
seen any of that.
of okay. Would you like me
Are
to
they
just
bad?
say what? One of the
She's so
things was
fake.
when you told.
Really? Well, Big C, if you have any of those clips or anything, let me know. Oh Jesus!
Stardust, that the Tinder date story. When you had the first interview with her, I felt like you did a bit of verbal sleight of hand that gave people the impression that you gave nuance when you didn't. There was no nuance involved in the words that you said.
Okay. Do you see my problem with you having basically the same reaction to me telling a Tinder date story in which I...
By your description, it was.
As you
Christ.
And you said that as well.
You're gonna do it right now. You're gonna
okay,
spend
sorry.
half of
I'm
this.
sorry.
But you get what I'm saying?
done.
Like, do I deserve the same emotional response as what you were saying is a literal Nazi is not getting the right pushback from a gigantic political commentator?
No, I'm on your side with this, I think. Right?
I know, but do you see why it feels like you've cried wolf a little bit, and now it's
not
like
personal. I stand by everything that I said about you.
That's fine. You can stand by it. I'm just saying, do you see how it undermines your ability later to say, like, hey, I think this is inappropriate? If you've been saying that about every single thing in the same way with the same amount of emotion,
no,
you don't think you've undermined your ability to call out bad behavior?
Okay, I thought there was big dog noises happening behind me. Oh, hey, Emery. Okay, give me 1 minute. There is big dog noises. Annabelle, chill. Oh, I have to give you permissions. Wait, no, I don't. Emery, if you want to hop in to the general or like the Blind Eternities waiting room, I'll pull you in. She wanted to interview my wife when she was working on her doctoral. Really? Interesting. About what? Annabelle! Shut up. Stop. You're making too many dog sounds. Move to stream only. Hello? Shoot. Hang on a minute. I think I have to...
There it is. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I gotta turn you up a bit, though.
Yeah,
and then... You don't do camera, correct?
No, not really.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not trying to persuade you to, but I'm gonna... Need 1 second to enable my Discord icons.
Gotcha.
Oh, they are. Make them a little bit bigger then. That way. It's a little bit more obvious when you're speaking. Okay,
Sweet.
cool.
So I didn't watch too much of the stream right now, but you're watching the infamous Nazi debate, right? On the Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, the part 1 of 3. I'm so mad. I had like really strong opinions about it when it happened, and I did a stream about it, and I talked to my buddy Kia Weird with it when I did it.
Yeah.
And YouTube was just like, yeah, you streamed this, but we're not going to show it on your live. Like, it shows it in my YouTube studio, but it just won't. I can't put it out there so that people can see it. So I just figured now would be a good time to do it over again.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched that one where I'm like, I think that was the first instance where I'm like, oh, I already had problems with Destiny, but this was like the first thing that like gave me a huge indicator of like something's really off here. So watching that was like the swaying moment, I think, of like really being on Mr. Girl's side and the whole thing.
That's really interesting. I was still I was a huge fan of both, and so I didn't really have like a horse in the race. Like, both of my horses were in the race. I win no matter what. But while I'm watching, I was like, oh my god, this is the first time I've ever seen Destiny like outright lose a debate. I was like, he lost, and he lost hard. That was my takeaway from it.
I feel like there's two ways of looking at debates. On one hand, from my perspective, obviously, and I think from yours, and a lot of people who think like us, we're gonna be like looking at, and it's gonna be super transparent that like he lost.
Yeah.
But there's gonna also be like the hardcore fan base where it's like, oh, like this guy, like he's still holding his own. Like he's got this. He's good. So I feel like it's a very like subjective thing overall debates. But this is the first time where I'm actually like, oh shit, like yeah, like this felt not more objective, but it felt like I can see this is where the tides turn for like Mr. Girl's like more people are more catered to listening to Mr. Girl's perspective with good faith to be like, oh yeah, Destiny's kind of wrong here, or very wrong, yeah.
Sure. Well, like, I guess when I say like who wins or who loses, I'm saying like whose point came across as like more correct, and who was able to advocate for their point better, and that was just Mr. Girl. Because like Destiny didn't even. Well, I'm gonna go through, but like it's like Destiny wasn't even trying to do that. He just like wasn't trying to have the same conversation as Mr. Girl. He was like running from it, which is crazy because I'd never really seen him run like that. But
yeah, yeah,
we'll see more of that in like the next couple hours. But do you have anything else you want to say about this particular conversation before I switch it to the conversation you and I were gonna have?
Yeah. One more thing on that is everyone knows he was pretty much. It felt really dishonest that he felt very like dodgy, where he's like, yeah, he's not a Nazi, like, or and then it's like, no, he's like a white nationalist or something. Like he wanted to get into specifics, like, but he also wanted to make the argument of like, oh, there's no labels. I don't want to talk about the labels. And it's like, okay, like you got to pick one. Like either like he's a Nazi or he's a white nationalist, or like what is he? Like, yeah, I felt like very dodgy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll ask you since I got you. Have you ever tried to talk to anybody about this conversation between them?
A lot of people.
Do you hear this is what I get all the time? Well, Mr. Girl just wanted him to call Nick Fuentes a Nazi. That's what people always say, and I lose my fucking mind.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I can see how they think that, but I'm also like thinking to myself like, no, it just felt like he wanted like Destiny to like picks like he wanted to
say he is or
be
isn't.
consistent, you know, like if he's gonna
Yes.
call him a Nazi, can keep the consistency of calling him a Nazi. Don't just like play around with it. Because Destiny has called him a Nazi like a lot of times in the past. And so it feels like dishonest, especially nowadays where he's trying to be on friendlier terms to get more of his audience to look at his content. where he's not going to call him a Nazi. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels very transparently dishonest there. Yeah.
I have consistently said, if I can't call Nick Fuentes a Nazi, then the word actually does not mean anything.
Yeah.
If Nick Fuentes isn't a Nazi, then that means only people that were alive in the World War II era who were a part of the organization that Hitler started is a Nazi, and it can never be used for anybody ever again. Or Nick
Yeah.
Fuentes is a Nazi.
Yeah. It's just it's understandable why a lot of people would be like, no, Nazi doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, cause like it's been like beaten to death and used inappropriately a lot. But
Sure.
there's the overcorrectness of like, oh, like this guy's not a Nazi, even though he's dispelling every like Nazi like red flag like possible. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It gets to a ridiculous proportion where it's like, okay, we need to we need to check back here. Like, what's going on? Like, we need to figure out our labels here. All right.
Yeah, if the Nazi Party still existed today, if we were back in World War II era, Nick Fuentes would be buying a boat ticket over to Germany right now so he could join.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, the main topic. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 second. What did Mr. Girl want from Destiny? What did Destiny want from Nick? And most importantly, what did Destiny get from both of them? Destiny's playing the gray area here. I think we answered what did Mr. Girl want from Destiny. Destiny wanted from Nick. He wanted to steal his audience. He wanted to drink his milkshake. And most importantly, what could Destiny get from both of them? Just content. That's it, I think. So, when you and Mr. Girl talked, I noticed a lot when I read your conversation with Elk. You said, talked about how like you were like nervous and stuff about talking to him, in like the way that Mr. Girl talks. And I guess just for if anybody's hears this who doesn't know what we're talking about, you talked to Mr. Girl about him calling Lav his daughter. Do you want to like lay out what your thing was?
Yeah. First of all, I've had numerous conversations with him, and it hasn't been. This wasn't the first conversation that was more like debate aggressive. I wouldn't
Wait, it
describe
was or
myself
wasn't?
as. It wasn't. It wasn't the first time. No.
Okay.
There was another time, but I can get into that way later on. I wouldn't describe myself as nervous because I felt comfortable going in. I felt like we had a rapport, which is
Okay.
good enough, like the understanding of like each other's personalities. So I felt more comfortable going in that time. What the best way I would describe it is I felt aware that this was going to be a confrontation and it was going to be a hard fight. I would describe it more like that instead of nervous.
That makes more
But
sense.
secondly, is my position is simply that I feel like it's understandable to a degree. If you have a relationship with a let's just say, okay, if I have a relationship with a person, let's not even get into genders or sexes or whatever, just a
Sure.
person in general, and I say I feel like I'm your parent. But I don't know this person. It hasn't been that long. I've only known this person like say 3 4 months. And I feel like I'm like I'm a mentor to them, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not actually in this like parental role. I feel like it takes a lot more commitment than Mr. Girl presumes. Um, yeah, I don't know. It feels weird to me to get to know someone and then place yourself into that role, and especially the way it felt like it started is that it was like this kind of joke that turned into a serious thing. So it felt like whether it was intentional or not, it was like this like little thing planted in Lav's head and his head at the same time, where it's like we're forming this weird dependent relationship that I don't feel was appropriate for what they were going through at the time for either of them. Um, so that's where I think it's creepy because Lab clearly didn't want this. Mr. Girl felt like he had to have this. Um, and when you're forcing that upon somebody else, uh, it, there's a disconnect there. I feel like, and I don't think that's fair to the other person. And yeah, it's just unhealthy for the person placing that responsibility on themselves. Sorry, I'm going long tangent, but
You're
yeah,
good.
yeah, I, yeah. Go ahead.
Um, and just so you know, you don't have to worry about being long-winded when you're talking to me. I would rather
Sure.
be able to have you say your whole thought than me to try to point something out and then have you be like, "Oh shit, no, that's I didn't
Mhm.
finish saying that." So that's all
Yeah,
good.
I wanna
So
I wanna clarify just a little bit real quick.
go
I
for
wanna
it.
clarify the creepy part of what he does is not that it's sexual. The creepy part is more so placing yourself in a parental role where it's not really necessary and where it kind of forces the other person to accept that role when they shouldn't have to, or and especially if they don't want to. If it feels forced upon, and that's where I have the creepy factor up, like for me personally.
Okay.
There. Yeah.
So this is going to be totally aside from the thing that I really want to say, but
Mhm.
since since I have some information that isn't necessarily public, um I want to point out that I had a conversation with Lav probably I have no idea how long ago, but it feels like it was like a year ago. Um it was off stream and I asked if I could record it just for me and she
Yeah.
said yeah. And part of the way through the conversation she kind of told me like she would say like this part's off the record, and so I know what things I can and can't talk about. So, well, none of
Okay.
it's totally public. Some of it I'm allowed to make public. I asked her about the father-daughter thing because it's constantly getting brought up, especially at that time it was being brought up all the time. And I
Yeah.
said, "This, I'm going to ask you about it, and I'm going to tell you what I think it is, and you can let me know if this is what it is." And it's
Okay.
exactly what Mr. Girl said it was. I said it seems like the father-daughter thing, it seems like it's like a metaphor for what the relationship is. And the reason why you guys are both okay like using like these kinds of labels for it is because it makes people uncomfortable and it's kind of funny that it makes people uncomfortable. So when you guys do it, like you both know what's going on, and it's funny that people get so upset. And she's like, it's
Mhm.
exactly that. Like, okay, I get it then. I totally understand it. And she even told me too, it's because she can come to him. She can say things that are sexual, like about her sex life if she chooses to, and he won't comment on it. And he will never say anything or be any kind of sexual towards her. This is what she had told me. So everything that
Yeah.
Mr. Girl has said about it is completely in line with what Lav understood it to be when she was totally accepting of it.
Yeah. Um.
However, I don't think that
Yeah.
that necessarily matters when it comes to your guys' conversation about it. But I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. I feel like I don't know why, but it feels like there was a point where Lab is like disconnected from that, where it's like, yeah, that is the way I see this. But
Hmm.
then, especially as things got worse and worse for like their relationship, um, I think she saw it as like, all right, like I don't want this anymore. And I think that was the time. That's my main critique is, okay, I'm gonna find it creepy or whatever, like, but at the end of the day, like it was like harmless, generally speaking. But like the moment it becomes problematic, the main criticism where I say it's problematic is that like when she says, hey, I don't want you doing this shit anymore. I don't want you calling me your daughter. I don't want you calling me you calling yourself my dad. Like we're done. I don't want this shit anymore. And then you say like he says like no, you
No,
can't break up with your dad. That's where I'm like, okay, bro, come on, man. Like
I
there's
get that.
boundaries here, dude. And I think I told him this and I sincerely think this and he can call me like cynical or whatever or I don't believe in love, which I do believe in love. And I don't think I'm as cynical as people would like to think I am or yeah. But like I sincerely don't think they're gonna like talk about each other, speak to each other or think about each other within like 10 years from now. So like when he places this like, yeah, like my door's always open, like I think he believes that, but I sincerely don't think that's gonna happen.
You know,
Eh, yeah.
you made that
Mhm.
absolutely not by you telling him that. I think you made it not true. I remember when I was in middle school and there was
Mhm.
a bunch of drama going on, and it was pretty adult level drama for people in middle school. And one of my friends said to me, "Do you really think any of this?" Or no, I'm sorry, it was my girlfriend at the time. She said, "Nobody cares about any of this. Do you really think anybody's gonna remember this in 10 years? You're not going to." Well, it's like
Mhm.
20 years later, and I still remember it. And if she didn't say that, I probably would have forgotten. So I bet you Mr. Girl will specifically remember it because you said that.
It's
Um,
not it's not that they won't ever think about each other, but it's not to the point where it's like meaningful. Does that make sense? Where it's like this is like a relationship they're gonna like, like meaningly think about like I'm gonna go back to this. Like when they think about it, I'm gonna want to connect with this person. I guess that's what I mean more specifically. Yeah.
sure. Like I said, I don't know that it was that weird. It was also sweet. She seemed like she had an emotional release of gratitude for his unconditional love as well. Big C disagrees with all of it. He thinks Lab just used Mr. Girl for fake support. That's maybe. And then Big C said, "You never forget a love." This is what I think. And so I was pretty much on your side when somebody told me that they had a falling out because of the father daughter thing. I
Mhm.
was like, oh, she said that she didn't want him to do that and he probably should have stopped. But your guys' conversation, I was like, oh, I get it now. You're right. It is about boundaries.
Mhm.
Yesterday, I said a boundary can only be one thing. A boundary is I'm not going to do X. That's a boundary.
Yeah.
Um, a boundary can never ever be you can't do X. It can be like if you're going to do X, then I will disengage. That's a boundary. But a boundary is always about what you're going to do. It's never about what the other person can or can't do. It can be about
Yeah.
what you'll do if they do. So when Mr. Girl says, says I'm going to take on this role of like a parental figure, it means that the other person can reject it and turn away from it, but he's not allowed to stop when they do that. Because when, like, I'm a dad, if my kid says, I hate you, I never want to talk to you again, I can never
Yeah.
be like, well, fuck you, I hate you too, I'm never going to talk to you. That's never a response from me. My response is I have to take that, I have to in turn show love back, and that when they if and when they ever decide that they didn't mean that, I'm still going to be the same figure that I was prior to that conversation. That is what that role entails. And so I think that's why he can't just go, well, okay, then I guess my end of this is just dissolved.
Yeah, I think he means that too. I
Yeah.
don't know how long he's gonna mean that. Mr. Girl's quite a different person, so maybe he actually will surprise me even. And 10 years later, Lad decides to go back to him and it's like still open arms. I don't know. Like maybe that'll be a surprise factor of like Mr. Girl's character of like, yeah, I'm accepting this role anyway. But I think like the more I thought about it too, I think he caught me in this in this area where like I did not think about it and it made me look really bad for a moment and I was like fuck, like why did I answer so fast? I should have really sat and thought with this cuz he presented this case of yeah, I set up that relationship, like that boundary of like I'm your parent, but she doesn't want that. And then is it okay if I send nudes after that? Like is
Yeah.
everything after like dissolving that like parental role, is that okay? And then I said immediately yes, but then like I thought about it and I was like, oh shit, like I know where he's going here. And that's like obviously no, because the weird creepy factor would be like you set up a certain role but like your boundaries you dissolve that role when like that person doesn't want it but like the problematic factor is that it sets up this weird uh scenario of almost like a grooming-esque kind of thing so
Yeah. If that
when
role
he
can be
presents
dissolved, it can be abused.
yeah so when he presented that I think that further if anything that further strengthened my case and it strengthened my mindset on it because I was thinking after that, I was like, oh, since you presented that to me, that only furthers how unethical it is to do that in the first place. I feel like you if you're going to suggests you're in a parental role if you're not related to the person by law or like by blood. I think you should be with that person for longer than like a fucking year or two at least. To even like present that as like a factor of like your relationship with somebody. I don't know. Like I feel like you need a stronger bond than like whatever Lab and Mr. Girl went through. Yeah, I don't know.
But we don't know
That's just
how
how I
strong
see
their bond was. When I talked to Lav about it, it seemed like it was pretty legit. It seemed like she got a lot of like that kind of stuff out of it. And in
Mhm.
fact, because of what she told me, and I'm gonna be a little bit
Yeah.
vague about it, because uh, I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't want to get too far in the details, but like just even how her and Shaylin interacted and stuff. I thought it was like really shitty when she was on Smeth's stream and said like, "I adore Shaylin. She's like," it was like she's sweet, she's cute, but like that's not the kind of like thing that she was explaining to me about Shaylin's role in that dynamic. It seemed like she got like a lot of value out of that, and it I was like almost like offended on Shaylin's behalf because it seemed like Lav did get quite a bit out of their relationship based on what she had told me. So I was like, this is that's like a pretty cringy thing to like say publicly when you haven't been public about the other part of it. And also, I think it's really hard to say how close they were and what their relationship was like because you and I only see things that are public, and they had a lot of interaction that was offline.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like their bond was pretty strong. Like even just looking from like the outside perspective. But I feel like the strength of a parental role with somebody, like when you're not connected by law or blood, to me, I feel like it just requires so much that it almost feels like this insurmountable. Like not only, I don't even think they've met in real life too. That like it takes so much more to me in my brain the way I think about stuff like that. Like where I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like I just don't buy it, and I don't think it's. I don't think it's realistic, like, to do that with somebody that, like, you haven't known that long and you've never met in real life. I guess I'm just like very particular about like how people view this role. I was more than comfortable with like the idea of like him presenting himself as a mentor figure, or even like a big brother is more harmless to me because at least a big brother kind of implies this figure of like, yeah, like I'm helping you out, like I'm your big bro. I'm just like kind of helping you, guiding you a little bit,
Big
and like
Brother's
our
also beat you
relation.
up.
Yeah, like, well, that felt even more fitting too, because there's obviously conflict that they would have on live stream and shit like that. Like, for example, when he's like yelling at Lad to shut the fuck up, let me guide you during this like debate with Brittany Simon and shit like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Um, well, sorry, maybe dictate's not the best word, but judge. Okay, I get it. I guess you mean it can't happen rather than it shouldn't happen. So I just have to ask then, do you have like a
Mhm.
really, really strong, really positive relationship with your parents?
Um, man, it's complicated. I would say in one way, yes, and in another way, no.
Oh,
Um, there's like a huge disconnect. But it doesn't mean that I don't have any love for them, and obviously they love me, and I mean, they are very, very like, uh, well, sometimes it seems like they're impatient because they're very much like chaotic figures in their own way, like yelling is standard conversation. um, but yeah, no, it's complicated. I think everyone has like somewhat of a complicated relationship with their parents. But yeah, I mean, I love
sure.
them, but I also hate aspects of them very strongly. So
Well, that's part of it. I was just
yeah.
curious if your position was informed by your personal relationship with your parents. Um, and I would say I have a historically pretty bad relationship with my parents, but then I
Hmm.
also have the other side of like understanding of a parental role in that I am a parent. I have a teenager, and
Yeah.
I'm a very different kind of parent than my parents are. Like I'm a pretty big hands-off parent. I think that my role is to let my kid practice having freedom and
Mhm.
stop them from doing an insane thing. Like, hey, that's not how we exercise freedom. And also to catch them when they fall and hope that and try to guide them into learning what they should have from the mistake that they made.
Yeah, there's certainly mistakes that my father admits to nowadays. He
Mm,
used to be like 10 times worse. But nowadays it's like there's obviously factors that he'll just never change on, but
sure.
in a lot of other ways, um, he's like significantly improved and feels more self-aware. I can't expect perfection, unfortunately, and I still have this. I feel like the best way to describe him is more of a verbally abusive person and emotionally abusive person. Not that like I feel like he was intentionally emotionally abusive. I feel like he's a very angry person generally about a lot of different things in life. So I think like most times it wasn't like to like manipulate me or berate me because like he hated me. It was just like frustration. Yeah.
What a dad thing, am I right?
Yeah, I think I get some of my anger from my dad, unfortunately. So I have
Yeah,
to,
it seems
deal with
like
that.
the most dad thing ever. Like, why is he mad? Like he's always mad, dude. Like that's
Oh,
just like a
dude,
very dad characteristic to have.
one 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 very specific example is bro, it was he was just trying to teach me how to ride a bike, and he couldn't like I couldn't learn it because I do have like aspects of autism, obviously,
Oh,
where
I
it's
didn't know
like
that.
I learn things like a lot slower than I would like to, especially motor skill things. So learning to ride a bike was like really weird and kind of difficult for me. I can do it now just fine, but like learning the process of getting it started was like solving a fucking Rubik's cube. But what made it 10 times more difficult is that he was very frustrated with me and he would scream at me. He would yell at me about it
Oh
because
no.
he wasn't like, "Oh, you're a piece of shit for this." He was just like very frustrated with the situation. And yeah,
My buddy doesn't
yeah.
drive because of that. He's in his 30s and he will never get a license because the person teaching him to drive was just like freaking out at him the whole time, and he's just like, "I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm done."
Uh,
So yeah,
yeah, I
that
think
can be difficult for
yeah.
everybody, man.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't
for
beat
sure.
yourself up about it.
I I try not to. I don't really like to think about it. I usually think like shit, like, well, he's self-aware now. He's admitted, he's apologized numerous fucking times. He understands that, and I feel like that's sufficient enough for me, at least at this instance, to be like, well, you're not perfect, but it seems like you're at least trying. And there's a lot of things that like I feel like fuck man, like if you would just like look at trans people as like humans, or if you would do this or like that, or like maybe not be such a fucking asshole and loose with like words like the N word and shit like that. Maybe it's weird. I don't know. It's complicated. It's like fuck, dude.
It's funny. It reminds me of do you know who Shane Gillis is?
I don't think so.
He's a newer comedian, and he said, "My dad is a Fox News dad." And he goes,
Hmm.
and people, but he's like, "Yeah, sure, sure, sure." He goes, "But that's a good fucking dad, dude." Uh, Fox
Jeez.
News
Yeah.
mom, that's a bad mom. That's a mom who smokes in the house, and like I get it though because I feel like one of the parents has to be. I think you need to be at least a little bit afraid of one of your parents because otherwise you're gonna do whatever you want, and that's not how you need to grow up.
Well, here's the thing. It's both a good thing and a bad thing. I'll explain the good thing. The good thing is that,
You shouldn't be too afraid.
well, yeah, you shouldn't be too afraid, obviously. But the good thing for me, like the fear that I had from certain parents, even though I still did like shit that like was kind of not fucked up, but like I'd fuck up obviously and get in trouble. But so that didn't like deter me too much, but it did deter me from like stronger things. Like for example, I think I remember one time, um, he was like, "If you ever start smoking cigarettes," he's like, "I'm like, I don't think he said I'm gonna kill you, but he's like, dude, like I'm gonna be like unbelievably angry with you, some shit like that." Something that deterred me from like even like wanting to attempt to smoke a cigarette. Um, so stuff like that, like it deterred me from like more hardcore things that I think and in the future really helped me not form certain addictions. Um, but then like the bad thing is there's like a reinforcement of like being afraid of their responses to things, even the things that like are kind of like not a big deal if like you ask them, but like they usually have a response of like some sort of passive aggressiveness or anger in general. So it formed in me some sort of habit to lie to them about things or
Yeah.
exaggerate things, and then when I get caught in the lie, they're like, "Why are you lying to me?" And it's like, well, like
You're
sometimes
scary,
I'd feel like
motherfucker.
yes, yeah, because sometimes I feel like I'd ask something very casual, and you'll either say yes, but with a lot of qualifiers in a very angry tone that made me uncomfortable with doing it in the first place,
Yes, but
or
I love
no.
you less now.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
it's like
understand.
no shit. Yeah.
Um,
Um.
yeah, I know that that's like that. I didn't get like my dad was just an angry guy, but I know that can be like that because my kid's mom
Mhm.
has I didn't have my kid living with me for a long time. Now that my kid does, my kid will be like afraid to ask me certain things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't understand that, and I have to understand it's because uh, my kid's mom and their like unofficial stepdad, they would react in such a way to where it makes them nervous to talk to me, even though I haven't done anything to like warrant that.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff just doesn't go away. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
also think I'm like a strict like psycho when it comes to being a paleontologist. If I think something's wrong, I don't do it, and I don't believe in lying. However, I think that you can lie to your parents and your boss, anybody who has an undue amount of authority over you, which would impede your ability to like have the freedom to be yourself. It's okay to
Mhm.
lie to them.
I feel like the worst times to lie are lying to yourself,
Mm.
or what's the other? Well, obviously big lies. If you're gonna like form some weird big lie, sometimes even needless lies are the kind of worst lies where it's like,
I hate little white
um, I
lies.
I feel like when I hear somebody say something like the most weird lie ever invented. Like I think I remember one dude that I used to know. He was just like, "Yeah, I have like this car and this car, and it's really cool." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that sounds cool. Cool. All right." And then I find out later, like I don't like really care that much that you have a nice car. Then I find out later you have like the opposite, and I'm like, "Why did you fucking lie about this? There's no point in it." Like I don't know, the most pointless lies are like the most frustrating in a way because I'm just thinking to myself, like, you know, you're gonna be caught, right? What's the fucking point? I don't get it. I don't know.
I think that little white lies are a big deal to me because if you can lie over something like that,
Hmm.
then if the stakes are high, I just I am allowed no capacity to trust you when it really matters. Then
Yeah,
if it can actually hurt
I feel
you,
like
if you get caught, you'll definitely lie. Then why wouldn't you? You're a liar.
yeah, I feel like when somebody says like lying is always bad in every scenario, like I don't like the black or white view of that because I'm like, well, obviously, if like a terrorist comes in and they're shooting up everything. You're about to die, but like they ask you one question, like where are the rest of like the people hiding? Like you know where they're hiding. And like before you die, should you like fucking like tell the truth? Like no, like
I'd say I'm
it
not
would
going
be
to tell
immoral
you.
to do that. I think that would be wrong. Like
Yeah,
yeah, no, fuck no. I'd
I
lie. I'd be like I don't know.
I wouldn't lie though. I'd just say I'm not going to tell you.
That's true. You can say something like that. I guess like I guess there's certain circumstances where I feel like there would be a situation like that, but I don't feel like I could say like I can't tell you. I feel like the better option would be like say like I could lie and say like they ran that way when they really ran the opposite way or something. Like that would be a better lie to construct because you would give the other people more time. But I see what you're saying.
However, I would never suggest anybody follow like if it was lie or get killed, I would lie. Morality serves me through my life. If your moral system takes you to your death,
Yeah.
you have a bad system. Like full stop. Like you're retarded. Don't stop doing that. Like don't die for your morals. Your morals don't exist when you're dead because you're dead.
Yeah.
All morality stops when there's a gun to your head.
I'm gonna go back to the conversation I had with Mr. Girl.
Yeah.
The one thing I feel like I noticed is that even though I feel like I'm self-aware of it and Mr. Girl is self-aware of it, because I think he knows he does this. I don't want to believe he doesn't know he does this, but I called him out on Destinyisms, like certain debate tactics in the middle of a like heated argument. I do this as well. I did it during our conversation. So I feel like that's one of the things where it's like when you watch something for so long, like Destiny's content or debate bro content in general, you're gonna like pick up a lot of like neato little tricks here and there, like rhetoric or certain like styles of like asking a question or something like that. I think Mr. Girl's still working up the kinks of like you know, uh, of his time in that sphere because when he's in a debate, I'll see him do something that I feel like he would call out Destiny for, and that's why I'll stop there and I'll be like, "Dude, you're literally pulling a Destinyism right now. Like, I don't believe you're doing that right. Like, I gotta untangle the web, like the classic untangling the web of like uh, adding distractions or making my point a little bit more complex to distract me or something. Yeah, I don't know, stuff like that. I had to
What was
call
the
out.
example of that? Was it when he said, "Do you think it's immoral to have a child?"
Yeah, I feel like he intentionally overcomplicated that.
Okay.
It's hard to describe, but in that moment, I felt like I was making a very specific point where I'm like, for him, I was like, hey, like, I feel like you putting yourself in this parental role uh, made things unhealthy, possibly for you even further, because you're adding stuff that you don't need to be adding, like the emotional toll and stuff like that. And I think that makes it worse for you when you don't need to be doing that. And then, like, he goes into this whole thing about, like, well, yeah, of course that's going to happen when you're in a parental role. And I'm like, so he's like, "Should you have kids?" And it's like, "Bro, no. Like my simplified point. You're making more complex by adding other things about like, should people have kids or why people have kids and blah blah blah." And it's like, "Fuck, I gotta untangle this and that." Yeah.
So here's the thing, and I've said this a ton, but I don't know if I've ever clarified it. Like, Mr. Girl and I talk similar, but he speaks publicly the way I speak privately. So
Okay.
what I seen happening there was, you that was really simple what you said, but
Yeah.
to him it's not that simple, and this happens a lot when I try to talk to people in my like regular life. Even my wife, it's taken her a really long time to understand that I will ask for clarification about things that seemingly nobody would need clarification for. I have a problem of thinking that I know what people are talking about and then finding out that that's not what they're talking about. And so I
Yeah.
have to ask questions, and it doesn't mean I'm calling you a liar or I'm trying to prove you wrong. It's just that in order to respond to you, I have to actually know what you mean. So like, okay, I could think about this in a couple different ways. And if I respond to you with the way that I think it is, and it's not,
Yeah.
we can both get really confused here. But also, whenever you talk to Mr. Girl in a disagreement, you have to just answer his question and not answer what you think that the question is really asking. And I'm the same way. Like, I'll start getting freaked out of like, you're not answering me. Oh my God, what is happening right now? I've asked this question 4 times, and then people will say to him when I get told that, no, I'm answering you. You just don't like the answer. Like, no, but you're fucking not answering me. Like when I ask a question, what I'm doing is I'm requesting certain information so that way I can have an understanding and move forward. But if you're not giving me that information that I'm looking for, then my question isn't answered. And you got stuck with him the same way. See, a lot of people get stuck with him. The only thing you can do is to answer the question and then see what he says about it. And then if he says something about it that seems like it's way far off, you're like, okay, yeah, look, I understand why you asked that question out, but that's not what I mean. And he'll give you the space to change whatever you have to change so that way he can understand it. But that's that I think that you fell into that the same way that tons and tons of people have fallen into that with him. In
I think I got caught up in the moment. Here's how I think of it now. I think I got caught up in the moment of thinking that was a Destinyism and like being like, I still think it was, but it caught up as like as a cheap tactic when I feel like I could be wrong. Maybe he actually did sincerely feel this of like, I got to clarify this. But it did feel like in the moment where it was like, I feel like you know what I'm saying. And then you're trying to overcomplicate it and have me answer a bunch of other questions to lead to a certain path of like, well, then it should be fine for me in this thing because so and so. And it felt like it was diverting. Where I feel like it was the point of it was to make me lose track of like my point in general. I don't know. It felt weird in the moment. It's hard to describe because sometimes when you're in the moment and you're talking to somebody like that, especially if you know it's going to be an argument to some degree, you're gonna think like, okay, like is this person gonna pull like a maneuver on me that like I have to be on guard, so to speak.
yeah, but so I think it's fair to say that you're a Mr. Girl fan, yeah?
Yeah, it's funny too
Generally
because
speaking.
yeah, I would say more of a fan than most people, but I'm very critical of him at the same time. People don't
Sure.
understand this
Me
because
too.
I'll be like super forgiving of a lot of different things, and honestly, it gets annoying because I feel like I agree with Destiny or a lot of other different people more with them than Mr. Girl on certain subjects. But then, like, I feel like there's like this huge mistreatment of like certain things that he says. And I'm like, okay, you're being like super dishonest and dismissive. So I have to like defend him. So I'm like seen as the Mr. Girl or even Lav simp, you know? It's frustrating.
Yeah, buddy, you know who you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
I cannot possibly have if I disagree with Destiny, it's only
Yeah.
because I'm a Mr. Girl fan. And if
Mhm.
I agree with Mr. Girl on something that people disagree with, like of course, the Mr. Girl fan thinks this like yeah, of course I do because I'm not interpreting everything through this lens that he's like a pedophilic piece of shit. So yeah, I'm actually
Yeah.
able to hear what he's saying and respond to what he's saying and not respond to my feelings about what he's saying. But yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get that. So the reason I asked you if you're a Mr. Grill fan or not is that you should know that when he's talking to people, and it feels different when it's you. Of course, I get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he does not do things that are dishonest to try to win in conversations. So he doesn't actually like the debating so much. Is that he wants both people to understand the other person better, right?
Yeah.
And so
Um
that's why I think he was just trying to get clarification rather than to trip you up. But when you're in it, uh, it's I feel like it's so hard, even if you don't care going in. Like I don't care about like winning this conversation. When you're in there,
mhm.
and it's like you're losing traction. All of a sudden, you kind of do just want to win at that point. There's people watching and stuff. You don't want to sound or look stupid. Uh, so you're gonna like be trying to like scoop up everything you can to like gain some ground. I get that, but I just don't think that's
Yeah.
what was happening. I think it was just a big miscommunication between you guys when he said, should anybody have parents?" Because
Yeah.
if you say yes or no, then he can go, okay. So what would then be the meaningful difference between these two things? Like, what's the thing that you care about? That's what he's trying to find out. What's the thing that you care about that's happening with me and Lav that you don't care about when it happens with real parents?
Yeah, I think you're largely right, but here's where I think like I defer from you on this a little bit is that um if you're like a if you're Mr. Girl and you're being criticized in the moment, and it's like this like huge thing, I feel like it is sort of like, yeah, I want to understand your perspective and I want us to have a conversation. But I want you to I want you to know I disagree with you, and here's my argumentation. And so when we're in the heated conversation, there are numerous methods. We can call it a trick bag, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. I think he's trying to make a point, right? So when I say he's like doing Destinyisms or using trick bags or something like that, I don't think that's necessarily a wrong thing to do, and I don't think it necessarily means he's being dishonest or anything like that. I just have to remember that, like, yeah, he's doing this because he's trying to lay out his case of how he views himself, and he wants to make it very clear his position, and he wants me, like, at least to understand his perspective.
Yes.
So yeah, like I don't think it's necessarily like, I want to be clear. I don't think it's necessarily because he's being dishonest. I think he's just being very protective and understandably like, here's my perspective, here's why you're wrong, blah 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 blah. And that's why it's like a huge disagreement, a huge clash, and it's like a verbal a verbal battle, because like me, I think a certain way, he thinks a certain way, and obviously it's going to clash naturally. So
I think when Mr. Girl accuses somebody of using a Destinyism or like talking like Destiny,
mhm,
he's speaking to the intent. Because I
mhm,
think that somebody could say the exact same words to him and he wouldn't think that
yeah,
based on how it happened or like what it was in response to.
yeah, I think so, because it does seem like most Destinyisms are used as a form to like indicate like, I don't take you seriously, you're a fucking loser kind of thing. Like, I'm not taking this seriously. It's like a little rhetoric ridicule kind of thing.
Yeah, although I
Um
think he should drop that in discourse because he already has like no statements. I agree with that.
mhm,
That's fine. I think it's smart to not engage with statements that are posed as questions. However, I think that that's all he gets. You can't dismiss a question by saying it's a destiny thing.
yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it makes everything that you engage with feel weaker and less worthy of listening to. It's almost like saying, "Well, you have to ask me things in a certain way, otherwise I won't respond." It makes it feel like you just can't defend anything that you're trying to put out there to the world.
Uh, I think I framed it as a Destinyism more so to kind of communicate, hey, like, you know how like Destiny uses these things, right? Like, and you hate this shit. Like take a second and like look at like what you're doing right now, and like, hey, like maybe think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use that right there because that feels a little dishonest in the framing. Maybe I should like think about this a little bit more. Um, and then when he used that against me, I'm like, yeah, that's fair. I should, like, when he said that, I was like, yeah, you're completely right. I don't know if I said it right then. I was definitely thinking, I was like, yeah, you're fucking right. Like, I do pick up bad habits. And, yeah. So when I say it, I don't think it's necessarily like this critique of like, yeah, you're a huge fucking hypocrite. It's just more so like in this moment, like you're doing something that like you've criticized numerous times, and you should think about a little bit more before you do it in the future or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's probably
because
another reason why
yeah,
he shouldn't criticize people for using those things so much too, because a lot of it is just the way like optimal ways to have this kind of discourse that
hmm,
Destiny just also happens to use. So like he's like you're gonna do it like by that metric, like just approaching something from like a street epistemology way of dissecting it is a Destinyism, but that's like literally just the best way objectively to talk to somebody and like dismantle, well, not dismantle the argument, but to dissect the argument to get a better understanding of it. But
well,
if you
yeah,
call
and
it
I think he's.
Destinyism, then you're just
Mhm.
like losing a huge tool for understanding.
I think he's aware of this. He's done this before too, because I specifically remember him saying before that he's like, I'll catch myself like arguing with Shaylin and saying like, you're being bad faith or some shit like that. So I think he's more than aware that like in the very least he's picked up certain debate bro things like in his even everyday life, I guess. So like I think he's a little self-aware of like certain like little bad habits of like argumentation and stuff like that.
I don't think that using those words are necessarily bad, because like I'll say that, like
Mhm.
I'll use bad faith if I'm talking to my wife because I know she knows what it means.
Yeah,
It's just like if that's what's happening, it's just going to be the easiest way for me to explain it, because that's the way in which I think about it. I don't
yeah. I
think
don't think
there's.
it's yeah. I don't think it's necessarily bad. It was just I think it's me commenting on like I think like he's picked up like certain things in that community where it's like good or bad. Like it's grappled on a little bit. Yeah.
It's here to stay. I think, yeah. So I think that he's. This is more or less a comment on me saying that I think he is vastly overcorrecting from his time in the space.
Yeah. 100%. Absolutely.
That is the biggest critique I have currently of Mr. Girl, is that he has done so much overcorrecting that I think it's bad for him, and to a fair degree, I think it's bad for his audience too.
Oh
Because
yeah.
if
No.
something's genuine from him and that's how he wants to be, but he won't because it's too much like this or that from
Yeah.
the Twitch poll space, that's stupid. It's still
Yeah.
controlling you though.
I've literally you know the Thorpes, right?
Oh yeah.
I literally I argued with them about uh Grace Grace's conversation with Mr. Girl, and I was they were basically like, well, he's like very sensitive, and I'm like, yeah, like he's very sensitive about like certain things that you're gonna say to him when you start off like a conversation passive aggressive, Grace. Um, and they're like, well, that's like weird, and I'm like, yeah, he's mentally unwell. I actually believe he's 100% not well at all. Um, I think he's a little sick, just like Lav said. I don't know. I don't know how sick. I wouldn't go as far as maybe Lav would say. But I think there's like definitely things he's picked up um, from the circles he's in, and like you said, his overcorrective nature of what happened is definitely communicating to me like this very strong. What's the word? He's trying to it feels like when I'm looking at someone make a huge transformation, like I say like a meth addict turn into like a huge religious zealot or some shit. Like
Yeah.
obviously there's good aspects of that, but like then there's like the overcorrective nature of like maybe this religious zealot is taking in bigoted information, being too judgmental to other people, stuff like that, like going way overboard than they need to. For like they turned one mental illness that was really bad into a huge other mental illness that, in a way, is more healthy for them, but also really bad on other people.
Yeah, or I think what I've seen happen with Mr. Girl is like when somebody quits smoking cigarettes,
Mm-hmm.
um, and now all of a sudden they're telling all the people who smoke because they quit how bad it is, and they're like bringing all these like little tobacco factoids that nobody asked for.
Yeah.
I think that's probably not the best thing to be doing, because
What's funny is he um he critiques the space, and about 90% of it he's generally right, and it's about that 90% that most of the people in the space actually agree with him, um, either publicly or privately, because like there is a lot of toxic shit in the space. There's a lot of like fallouts. There's a lot of like really bad mental breakdowns and shit like that. Like a lot of drama, a lot of bullshit. It comes with the territory. So
it's
it's not
also
that
why
he's
people
like
watch.
wrong. It's just yeah, it's not that he's wrong. It's just that people are saying like, dude, shut the fuck up. I want to do this. Like, and
Yeah, I
I
know it's
think
not good
like
for me, but I like doing stuff
yeah,
that's not good for me sometimes.
yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily wrong of him to like express that and be like, yeah, this is really bad for you. I don't think you should do it. But I also think there's a level to it where I think he's almost reached kind of like past it where it's like kind of obnoxious to a lot of other people. I can't necessarily blame them.
Yeah, there's a time and place for critiques.
Yeah.
A critique that isn't going to be heard by anybody, only like you're hurting them then. If you have a good point to be made, but you're not in a position to make that point, and you make it anyways, you're going to make it that much harder for anybody to see the truth of what you're saying in the future. Because they're going to relate it back to you when you were saying it. So like if you know somebody's dating somebody who's super bad for them, and you're like, oh my gosh, they are like objectively abusive to you. You have to wait until they're going to be in a position to hear that. Otherwise, you're just going to make them double down. And right now, Mr. Girl isn't in the best position to criticize some of the things that he is. So I think that he should be holding back on doing that until he's in a better position to do it.
Yeah. Right or wrong, the unfortunate thing is, and I admire and respect that he's still going to do it anyway. That's part of what makes me really enjoy his content. But right or wrong, he doesn't have the best reputation to be able to effectively be able to put out like something like the Destiny Report and get a lot of eyes on it. That won't laugh him out of the room or not take him seriously. Because unfortunately, everything on that like report is like about 99% right and on the mark. And I don't think anyone's ever really disputed like at least a majority of the facts being like on point. Um, but yeah, like a lot of people will just be like, yeah, who cares? It's Mr. Grohl, that guy. Like I don't take him seriously.
I
So
think it
the
was
unfortunate,
fine.
yeah.
He just shouldn't have toured about it.
I I have the hot take of thinking that his tour was kind of based. Um, I
For us,
liked it.
yes.
Yeah, it was based in the sense of like, oh, this is all the shit where it's like I don't care anymore. Like I'm not gonna be in this space any longer. And like Mr. Girl's just like, all right, like either like I'm gonna have like the kind of conversation I want with these people where they actually talk about the report, which I think a majority of them didn't even want to really talk about the report as much as like Mr. Girl's ethics of writing it. And he was just like, all right, well, fuck you. Like, I'm just going to call you out for what I actually think of you, whether it's right or wrong, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Like, he's just like, no, like, I'm not doing that shit. I thought it was kind of based, but at the same time, realistically, I thought, yeah, no one's going to be swayed by this.
It hurt
Yeah.
the report. And more importantly,
Yeah, I agree.
This is an issue that I have with people across the board. If you think that you have something that's important to be said, like Smeth had a conversation with some vegans who didn't advocate for that at all, and all they did was try to dunk on him, which made me have to talk to Smeth about veganism. I think if you have something that's important to you, you think that this matters, and you don't handle it appropriately and effectively, then you're doing a bad thing by your own metrics. Like, if this is important, then you have to put your own feelings about it aside, and you have to act what is in the best interest of that important thing. And I think that he hurt the report by doing that. And so all the people that reached out to him and were a part of it were disserviced by him doing that tour.
Yeah, I think the best route for him in this hypothetical world where like he got a better start on the report and everything, Destiny doesn't figure out or whatever,
Yeah.
is that he starts the process of researching this shit. He doesn't indicate to anyone that he's doing it at all. He's just like writing it up, figuring out what's going on, like getting like a lot of clarity like that he needed to understand his relationship that he had with Destiny and the whole Twitch sphere. Write that up, and then like President Sunday said, I mean like he's a dick, but like he was right on the money. Like yeah, hand it over to somebody with a lot more credibility. Hell, hand it over to fucking Hassan or someone that is on a threshold like one of his enemies or some shit. I don't know, like more respectable. Specifically
He said you
about
would
this.
be better off handing it off to Elder Drazi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which
No
I'm
offense
mad at
to
him
you.
for that.
No offense to
He
you,
said
but
it
it
to
would be
insult me.
yeah, yeah. He probably did, but he also probably half meant it in terms of like Elder you have a technical better reputation on the basis of no one's calling you a pedophile and shit like that.
Yeah, he's saying it like even you would be
Mhm.
better off even handing it
Yeah.
off to Eldrazi, which is
Yeah.
basically a way of saying, Max, your shit, and even this fuck would been better off doing it than you. That's the way
Yeah.
he said it. I fucking hate
So
Sunday.
I do think he should have sent it to somebody, maybe even like a journalist or some shit, outside of the sphere entirely. So yeah, I don't know. It was destined to fail. I knew it was destined to fail. I was looking forward to it even so because I wanted to get more clarity and like get everything like figured out in my head of like, damn, like I was in this like orbit for so long. Like I was like watching this content for so long that I feel like I picked up bad habits when interacting with people through Destiny's content, even though I learned a lot of good things from Destiny's content too. Um, I was just like, okay, this feels like a refreshing to me. Like it feels like I'm not crazy. Um, but yeah, it just wasn't destined to get the feedback he wanted.
Yeah, I thought it's like you said, I think I really, really respect the fact that he put out the Destiny report. But I hate that he did it on a personal level. Like I wish he didn't do that. It ruined my good time. I was having a great time with all the Mr. Girl Destiny streams, all that. It
Mm-hmm.
was like the most fun that watching streams had been. Also, like I was getting a lot of opportunity to come into spaces and discuss things and like back him up and stuff. That was also really fun for me, and all that goes away with that. But I can never say like he shouldn't have done it. I just wish he didn't.
Yeah. I my feelings are complicated because it's on one hand I'm like glad he did, but it's also the other hand where I'm like, damn. So like that's pretty much it, at least streaming career wise. Like
It
that's
was peak
the
streaming, man. Destiny was never better. Mr. Grill brought up the
yeah.
standard of conversation for everyone in this space. Everybody had to get better to deal with him.
My feelings are complicated mostly because I feel like it was peak streaming content. But at the same time, I think it was inevitable that it was going to crash, but crash in the sense of like Destiny eventually will be like, okay, I'm kind of bored of Mr. Girl. I'm not gonna interact with him as much. And then eventually it'll die down. And then Mr. Girl, every other streaming, unless like they're like an orbiter of Destiny that needed like a big name, like a big orbiter name like Mr. Girl or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're talking about like content creators like Vosh and Hassan or creators in those orbits, like I don't think Mr. Girl was gonna get too much traction with other people. So he was bound to be in like this really small niche kind of thing, at least streaming wise.
I think he would have been able to create his own niche, like because he already was there. But I think that it would have
Mm-hmm.
pulled, you know, the weirdos and free thinkers out of other spaces too. Just, um, he just had to exist longer.
It's I think that's definitely a possibility. In fact, it's probably really likely. Smith is one of them. I think you, to a certain extent, even though your primary thing is following Mr. Girl's content, which is fun for you. Um, but I think there was definitely a strong possibility, but it's hard for me to like really gauge that because of two reasons. Mainly because it seemed like as much as he enjoyed streaming, I think he always did communicate that like, yeah, this is for money. At the end of the day, like I think he always wanted his like main focus to be video content, music videos, or shit like
Yeah,
that.
this wasn't what he wanted to be doing, But you know what though? He says that a lot.
Yeah.
It's not what he wanted to be doing, but he loved it way more than he lets on.
I think so.
I think that he doesn't like that he loved it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with him sometimes, but I think he did like it more than he let on. But it's hard to really tell how much.
I think it's hard to admit that when the thing that he liked about it was he got validation for all the he spent his whole life with people telling him, no, fuck you, you're weird, stop being like that. And then he got people going like, hey, you're fucking awesome, dude. I think it's really cool that you're doing that. I like that you're like this. That's very hard to not be appreciative of.
Yeah. I think one of my main frustrations with how people viewed his content is that there'll be just like kind of general blanket statements, which is understandable from like a perspective of like seeing a black and white view of Mr. Girl's statements at times. Is for example, the infamous rape story.
Yeah.
I think on one hand, it's pretty fair to look at what Mr. Girl's saying when he's talking about the nuances and how complicated it can be and all the technicalities of this this story of saying, yeah, did I rape her? I mean, kind of,
Kinda.
but like he never really. It seems like she never really considered it that, or at least from what we're hearing of the story, she never communicated that or anything. But
Right.
that's part of the complicated nature of the conversation in itself, and that's kind of the point of the video is, hey, like shit that you do that is spontaneous, that a lot of people love, that spontaneous stuff could be rapey or rape in itself. It's kind of the point. So when I hear people like Aeko or Destiny later on, after he's not being charitable with him, call him like a rapist, there's like an insinuation that he's like promoting being a rapist when that's not the case at all. Like I hate the blanket statement of you're a pedophile or you're a rapist because those blanket statements are more so insinuations of being an advocate of child molesting or rape.
Yeah, I lost my mind, dude. That's why I challenged Destiny on that, and I thought that was the most dishonest conversation. The most dishonest conversation I've ever seen Destiny have was the one that he had with me. When he tried to act like overnight he got new information the same day that the bridge burned. Now all of a sudden he has this totally new perspective on how Mr. Girl's actually a rapist in the story that Destiny defended. Get the fuck out of here, dude. This is no different than when somebody breaks up with their girlfriend who they loved 2 days before. Now she's a psycho bitch. Is she really a psycho bitch, or did she hurt your feelings?
Yeah. I hate two-faced stuff like that. It's very annoying. For example, a lot of
Say the last thing you said again. I tried to take off my hoodie, and I thought I could get my headphones back real quick, and they got caught in the hoodie.
You're good. I was saying I hate two-faced stuff like that because for one instance, I remember I had like a girlfriend one time, and you know, I used to make rap music, and she had said, "Yeah, I like your rap music. It's really cool." And, she seemed to like it like sincerely.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, once like the relationship was over, it's like, oh, I hated your rap music, and I kind of hate that because it's like, in my mind, I'm more so annoyed by the factor of like, okay, now I just don't know when somebody's lying to me and saying they like it, so I don't ever really know somebody's opinion, and that kind of annoys the shit out of me because if I'm being 100%, I'd rather somebody just like listen to my music or listen or see something I do and just be like, yeah, you're doing that wrong, or yeah, your music sucks, and be like very straightforward, but like in a nice way. You don't have to say it in like a cruel way, but like in a way of like, here's genuine critique. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, this kind of sucks that like you don't like my stuff, but that's sincere, that's honest. Like I know where we stand for sure.
Yeah, dude, I just I
I
had a
don't know.
creator reach out to me a couple days ago, said, "Hey, can you take a look at my my video and let me know what you think?" It's like a 3-minute video, and then I gave them some feedback about things that I thought weren't the best about it. And
Yeah.
I was so refreshing that they engaged with the critiques that I gave and talked about like different ways they might approach remedying those problems. I am so scared when somebody asks me their opinion about something, or asks my opinion about something, because if I have critiques, a lot of
Mhm.
times people will get ass mad as fuck about it. Like, oh, you don't want to know what I think about it. You just want me to validate it. If that's the case, you need to tell me
Yeah.
that, because I just wish I knew what people were actually asking for. Because, and like, so I think she was shitty to do that after you broke up, but it's also really hard for somebody to say how they actually feel about something that somebody's made, because that kind of shit happens all the time. You're like, no, that sucks. I'm like, oh, fuck you then. Like, God damn, then don't fucking ask me.
Yeah,
I feel like we get put in those positions a lot. It's
yeah,
tough.
it's just not fun because like then it leaves me in like this like shit, like should I just not trust people when they say something to me about anything, like or like stuff like that or something? I'm just like, should I just be like super cynical and just be like, yeah, whatever, bud. You'll just tell me later if like there's a moment of like real honesty or anger or something. You'll just be like, yeah, that's just trash. Or like you'll say that just because you're really mad and you don't mean that. But like either way, it feels like I'm having to question it like 24/7. So it's really like one of those complicated feelings in my head where I'm like, I just don't want people doing that. Like if like if you hate me, if someone like is mad at me and hates me, I want them to just be very precise with like, this is what I'm feeling about you and this is why, and I hate you for this. Or if it's leading to that direction of hate, just tell me like while we're in the middle of the friendship, usually, here's my problems right now. Here's what you do, blah blah blah, and at least I'll have like this kind of clear path of like, okay, like even if like the friendship ended or the relationship or whatever ended in a poor way and you hate me or whatever, I know what I kind of did wrong, or at least I generally understand where the conflict was. Yeah, like that shit bugs the fuck out of me.
People have a hard time with that. I had, again, another creator reach out to me, and they were
Mm.
pissed off at me, and I was like,
Mm.
whoa, hang on a minute. I was like, if this has been something I've been doing that makes you mad for a while, why don't you say, hey, I don't like it when you do this,
Mm.
and then get mad at me if I do it again. But like, I don't, like, I'm not comfortable engaging with somebody who wants to punish me for something that I've done that they haven't told me isn't okay. I find this unacceptable, and it makes me mad. I'll try to explain this before I get too heated, but like that's a really easy way to piss me off, is to accuse me of doing something awful when I didn't know I was being bad to begin with. You got to let me
Yeah.
know. You got to give me a chance to correct the behavior. And the initial response was like, well, it's not like we're dating. I'm not supposed to just tell you how I feel about stuff. And I was like, well, you're telling me how you feel about it when you're fucking pissed. So if you want me to care, you got to let me know that there's a problem first. Otherwise, like, I'm not going to read your mind. I'm not going to know that you're not okay with it. And I would genuinely like to not piss you off all the time. So you just got to let me know, man.
Yeah. I feel like I try to do that with people too, where I'm just like very much like when I have problems with people, I try to be very, very transparent of like what I have a problem with. I will say that I am probably way too mean and judgmental at times for sure. I feel like I can be like a huge dick, and like I'm trying not to do that near as much. It's really hard. I think is once habits form or whatever, it's just really hard at times. I don't know how to describe it. Like I don't want to make excuses for like poor behavior, but like generally speaking, I think I try to be very transparent of like, okay, you're doing this kind of behavior right now, blah blah blah. And this is what I have a problem with, and like I would like adjustments here, and then I would hope that other person is like, well, here's why this happens, and here's my problems with you, and blah blah blah, and like we at least try to communicate. And if like like if we can't resolve it, like well at least like I kind of understand generally speaking from both ends where it's like, okay, that's why like that makes sense. Like I get it. Even if we can't resolve it, like that's fine. Like I have some sort of closure and understanding why there's a disconnect and why it just yeah.
I understand. By the way,
Mhm.
there's somebody in my chat asking a bunch for a link to your rap.
I don't know if I want to give that away. I have 50-50 feelings on that. If I do link it, it'll be in Elder Drowsy's Discord. I don't know if I want to though. Here's why. I feel like when I put out my stuff, and then if like, and I'm not saying I'm like a popular name or I'm not even close. I'm not even like a close, but I feel like what happens generally when I've shown people in forums or online, it becomes like this weird thing where it's like they people use it to like insult me, and it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't like it, and like it's not like my rap music. It's not like I want to have like a career in rap anymore. So like I'm not even passionate about it. So it just feels like if I link it and show it to people, like it's just another
It's a
way to insult
lose-lose.
me. It's just fucking annoying. Like, but I also like my dumb rap music that's not very good. So I
Who do
might
you listen
post it.
to?
I don't know. Huh?
Who do you listen to?
Um. Nowadays.
Just to be clear,
Uh-huh.
I will judge you for this answer. I'm so picky about rap.
In terms of rap music, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a long history of like freestyling and rap and
I won't
listening
judge
to.
your rap music like that, but I will judge you as fuck for who you
Well,
like.
it doesn't. Yeah. Well, I have an assorted taste. So on one hand, there's certain rappers that I really like where I'm like, this guy has like actual talent in terms of like forming like really cool bars and having good songwriting potential of like having something be meaningful. Like one of my favorite songs is by a rapper that I don't even really listen to that much. But in terms of rap, Immortal Techniques, "Dance with the Devil," is extremely powerful storytelling, um, extremely thought provoking, and I'm
It's
like, holy shit! Like this is really good, like music.
it's really
With
funny you
like,
say that.
hmm
Storytelling, 10 out of 10. But as far
yeah,
as like auditorily, it's not one of his best sounding songs.
I would agree with you.
But like Point of No Return,
Uh-huh.
the instrumentals
It's
on
just
that are insane. His lyrics are insane.
yeah,
Storytelling is very interesting. Especially if you put it on in a system. Oh man. Yeah, Immortal
yeah.
Technique's a good one.
At
I'm
this
impressed. Good answer
at
for the
this
first one.
sir. So at the same time, I like a lot of dumb shit too, where it's just like, oh, I kind of just want to turn on a rap song to just kind of vibe. And I think the rapper knows, and I know, like, we both have this agreement of like, your rap bars are really fucking dumb and stupid, and they're like bad. But like, we don't care. We're vibing. So like, someone like Playboy Cardi is just kind of fun to turn on and listen to because like that's not the point of his music. Like the lyrics are like not important. But I also feel like you can make that kind of music, but have really good lyrics and really good flow too. And I feel like if I ever do try to make music again, rap music again, I kind of want to reach that perfect middle line of like having a song that has substantial, like cool, like lyrics that are like meaningful to some degree, but also like vibing like music, like just kind of like this is a mood. And I feel like one of the songs, this is like a cliche answer in terms of like a popular hit song from like a big rapper, but I feel like Swimming Pools does that really good with by Kendrick Lamar, where it's like super catchy and kind of like if you're listening to in like in the club, it's just like this is something to drink to or some shit. But like the lyrics are really insightful and tell like a story of like how alcohol can destroy your life. So
I had to look up the lyrics. I actually do know that song. I'm okay with
um
Kendrick. Somebody said listen to Pimp a Butterfly. It's like his magnum opus. I didn't like it at all.
I don't think
didn't think
that's
any of it was good. For me, I think it was probably quality. It sounded like 90s, like gangster rap.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think he has one song that made it to my Spotify.
Gotcha.
It's off his new one. What the fuck is it? Count Me Out? Yeah, Count Me Out.
I'm trying to remember Miles Morales, was it? No. Big Steppers, I think. Or Morales and the Big Steppers or some shit. Um I think his magnum opus to me is actually Good Kid, Mad City. Um I don't know if you've heard that album. I don't know what exactly makes what's your kind of taste, because it seems like you're more of a 90s kind of.
I think that the year 2000, like the 2000 era rap was the golden era. But
Okay.
the people I listen to now, are like Hobson. I'm
Mhm.
a big Joyner Lucas fan.
Okay.
Joyner's fire. I like Tech Nine pretty good.
Gotcha.
I've heard a few things from what the fuck's his name? Denzel Curry seems okay. Uh, I've only heard good things from Dax. I've just gotten a little bit of recent exposure to Dax. He seems like he's pretty good. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Eminem. Basically, if somebody's going to impress me with their rap,
Mhm.
like the beats can't be terrible, but I mainly look for something has to be amazing. Like your lyrics need to be insane. If you're like super technically proficient and you can rap really fast, or like do like tons of doubles and triples, and then obviously currently my favorite
Mhm.
rapper is Ren.
Okay. I think
I don't know if you know Ren.
there's I think for me, I feel like I don't want to be rude to you when I'm saying this. I want to be very very clear. This is not meant to be like oh, like you're not a true rap fan, but I feel like the way I see it is like I like the whole thing, where it's just like I feel like some people, they take out certain pieces of the pie. This goes for people who don't like the rap that you don't like, that you like personally, like the
Mm-hmm.
people who call Hobson or Eminem corny and shit like that too. Um, I kind of like them all for different reasons and different tastes. I have to be in the mood for certain ones. So
Sure, I don't like
and,
rap as a whole.
yeah,
I hate mumble
yeah,
rap. I hate it. Like I'm a
yeah,
rock
no,
and metal. I'm like a metalhead, and like I love a lot of rock. But these like
mhm,
certain group of rappers, I absolutely fucking love them. I'll put them up with like my
gotcha.
favorite metal groups and rock bands too.
So, generally speaking, I think if I had to be like technical in terms of like I'm taking everything into consideration,
Oh, I'm
like
sorry, Mr. Girl
legacy.
too. I really like his rap. Continue.
I'll speak on Mr. Girl in a second, but in terms of a top three for me, I'm talking about legacy, consistency, like lyrics, storytelling, beat choice. It would probably be like I think it would be like fucking Jay-Z, um, Biggie, and then I think I'd put Kendrick probably there too. I don't know what order I'd go, but mostly those three are the most consistent to me in terms of like I can turn on these motherfuckers, and like 9 times out of 10, like I know the song choice like is gonna be like something really like that I'm gonna bop my head to and really enjoy. And
Really,
there's
not
gonna be
Eminem?
really no. Here's the reason why. Um, if we're talking, oh shit, I'm about to be really spicy with this take. Um, if we're talking classic Eminem of like SS, what was his beginning album? It was
Like Infinite
SSLP,
doesn't
right?
really count. Yeah, then the LP. Yeah.
Yeah, I think SSLP to I think the Eminem show is where I
Yes.
feel like that's where it kind of died for me. Like not officially, because there's obviously some cool tracks and some good bars and good music after that, but it's like it's not the same after that. Does that make sense?
Actually,
Um,
it's really funny. Curtain Calls killed
mhm,
the entire genre for me. I didn't listen to rap for like 10 years after I heard Curtain Call. I bought it,
mm,
got it home, I was really
yeah,
excited, and I was like, hate this. I turned it off, and it was just like nothing but metal and rock for 10 years. And then Eminem's Kamikaze actually brought me back into listening to rap again.
See, yeah, I hated Kamikaze. I loved Relapse, but only in this certain way where I'm like, edgy music's back, and I love this like crazy shit. And when I go back to it, I feel like
Isn't that the
it's
one
not
Rap God was
bad.
on?
It was Eminem's Relapse.
Yeah, did that have Rap God on it?
Oh no, no, it did not. I think Rap God was way after. And then Recovery, there's a couple tracks I liked, but overall I was kind of disappointed. And then I feel like the thing that made his music worse for me is that I felt like it became the flow became really annoying, and it felt like at certain times, like with specific songs like Rap God, where it's like, yeah, these are bars and they're cool, but I don't, it just doesn't resonate.
You don't
with me
care?
the same. It just doesn't resonate the same. I don't know how to describe it.
It sounded like they're cool and technical. I just don't care about it. He's not making me care.
It's like, oh yeah, cool, like, but I feel like I've heard this song 20 billion times, but better, like, and from other different rappers and from him. Like, if you gave me a song like Worldwide Choppers, for instance, Worldwide Choppers is like Tech Nine's, like, I think you know, Tech Nine's, where it's like everyone's rapping really fast and they're just spitting bars. Songs like that are like more impressive to me because, like, yeah, that's a very specific gimmick. But when I hear Rap God, I'm like, okay, like, I know Eminem can do this. This is not news to me. This is not entertaining to me, and I don't like the beat with it. It just doesn't match with me personally.
Do you feel the same about Godzilla?
The hook for Godzilla is fire, but I've
is.
never felt like Eminem fit with like the song. It felt like a weirdly off flow for some reason. It felt choppy. I think that's the best way to describe his music for me now, is that it feels like it lacks purpose. Like the old albums had more purpose to me, and it feels like he's just running through the reins and just kind of showing everyone he can still rap. And it's like, yeah, we know you can still rap, but it's not as interesting to me anymore. I don't know. That's the way I would describe it. But I would say he's technically proficient. He's still one of the best.
Okay. I won't rake you over the coals for that then.
No, yeah, he's on a technical level. He's like, if you're talking about just technique, he's definitely top 5. But if I'm talking about consistency and legacy, and like in terms of like, do I feel like your discography holds up as well? Like, it's not for me. I would say like top 10 maybe at best.
Yeah, there's a big gap in Eminem music that I liked. But then everything that I liked of his, I think, is among the best.
Yeah. Oh, and I like Mr. Girl.
Yeah.
Enough, but I feel like here's one thing that I think he should stick to, is that he takes a lot of influence from Eminem, but some of that influence is bad. So, for instance, I feel like he'll make this song, and like he'll make it about something serious, like he's talking about a relationship, but it feels like it's done from the Eminem way, but not the old classic Eminem way from like the MMLP, where like it was at its best. I feel like it is more resonant of it's delivered in a way like from not Recovery, but one of his more recent albums, where it feels less, not sincere. It just feels the delivery feels off. I don't know how to describe it. It just feels.
It seems like he liked Eminem when he was still really hungry.
Yeah, they're like one. Yeah, I feel like this happens with every rapper, but sometimes it feels more obvious with others than like someone like Jay-Z, where Jay-Z feels static and like he's always kind of at this like baseline. I never really feel like he's like fallen off on a technical level, because it feels like he's always been there for whatever reason, whether that's bad or good. It doesn't really matter. He's just kind of always been there. But Eminem, he's like at this highest peak, right? At the highest he's ever been. But then when you notice the fall off a little bit, like the lack of skill that it's just a little bit more noticeable to me.
Interesting. I have to use the bathroom, and I'm gonna ask you.
Mhm.
Do you know who Joyner is?
Yeah, I
Do you
like
not
him.
like Joyner?
I haven't
Okay.
listened to a lot of them, but I like him.
Oh man, I think you should sit down and give him a listen. If you like that like because some of his stuff is like his early stuff I think is pretty bad, but I think once
Mhm.
he got like a taste of attention and he got really
Yeah.
hungry for it, he killed. Like, have you ever heard any of his remixes?
I don't think so. No.
Oh my god! Like he took Mask On, and he
Mhm.
destroyed that track so hard. He did like 3 different diss songs against Tory Lanez. He killed this
Yeah.
man. Tory Lanez
Um.
died.
One quick question before you go to the bathroom. Do you think you would describe Future as a mumble rapper?
Not in what I've heard him doing.
Okay. Because I feel like a lot of people think he's a mumble rapper because it's hard to decipher what he's saying at times. But I feel like he's actually a really good rapper when you like break down his lyrics and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, sometimes it's hard to understand what he says. So he does feel like a mumble rapper sometimes. But he's actually like on a technical level really good.
Was Future? Nope, that was Logic. Never mind.
Yeah. I feel that way with Kodak Black as well.
Joyner and Future did a song together.
Oh, did they really? Well,
yeah, it's called Blackout.
Gotcha. I'll have to listen to that in the future.
Is that a fucking pun, dude?
Not an intentional one.
All right, I'll be back like 20 seconds. I just gotta take a leak.
All right. But yeah, chat. I don't know you guys' rap music taste, but you'd be surprised what mumble rappers like firsthand. Like you'd be like, man, like these motherfuckers, I can't understand what they're saying. But like you look at some of their lyrics and it's like, oh shit, those are some bars, or there's some good storytelling here. Or, yeah, it's actually surprising sometimes. I feel like Kodak is one of those rappers where he's a goober. I don't take him serious as a person, but I can't really lie. That motherfucker's got bars and he's got some good songs. I mean, the subject matter's good.
If they can actually spit bars, then why not let us hear it? So
Sure.
the first song I ever heard by Joyner was his remix of Bank Account. It's phenomenal, the 21 Savage song. And I listened to the 21 Savage version, and I absolutely fucking hate it. However, I had my buddy Key of Weird was listening to it on stream to compare the two.
Yeah.
And we decided to put it at 2x speed. It was pretty good. It took like a song that I thought was ass, and then it made it like pretty good. It was really funny.
At 2x speed?
Yeah, Bank Account at 2 times speed is like significantly better than
Well, wait. Here's the question I have for you that I'm gonna judge your taste on whether or not you like this artist or not. Do you like Tyler the Creator?
He's okay. It's hit or miss. Like, he's okay.
I feel like I like all of his music generally. I like the maturity that I've seen in his music. But I always feel like maybe this is what made me like kind of grow out of Eminem's like edgier like side from like as he was making more music, because the more edgier he got as the older he got, it became less likable. It became more annoying for some reason. I think there's something about like seeing the youth be more edgy that's more acceptable in my mind, where it's like, well, they're gonna have their radical rebellious phase that makes more sense. So like classic Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt and Odd Future in general were edgy as fuck, like Eminem edgy. Sometimes at times a little not actually a little bit more edgier than Eminem, I'll say it. Them motherfuckers will talk about like being in Nazi games and they're Nazi gangs in their lyrics and raping women in their lyrics. They got fucking crazy. But like they had bars. So have you ever heard the Earl Sweatshirt mixtape Earl?
Nope.
Okay, you have to listen to that. That there's one thing you cannot deny about Earl is this motherfucker has an impeccable flow, and for the time for in terms of edgy music, that's probably like besides MMLP and obviously Eminem's SSLP, like that's peak edgy rap music. If you want like if you just want to listen to some reprehensible edgy music, god damn dude, like fucking shit like Ass Milk or there's one track named E-Par, which is just rape backwards. Like the motherfucker could tell like edgy ass stories and have the flow be incredible and the bars incredible. Like it's just really fun music. If you
I'm
just
deeply
wanted to
offended
listen to
by
like,
hearing the words ass and milk that close together.
dude, their music, dude, their edgy music is just it's just so much fun, dude. And it's so quotable and like when you memorize the lyrics, you're just like, damn, bro, like this shit fire, dude. And the beats were like the beats are like it felt like at the time like nothing else. Like they're like a mix of like a Pharrell style, but also like that edgy Eminem like classic like hip hop thing. I don't know how to describe it. Like it was just a grunge, a dirt to the beats, but it felt unique.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just to try to bring it back around a
Mhm.
little bit, did you? I don't necessarily assume that you have, but did you? I was trying to bring it back to Mr. Girl. Whoa, what's happening?
Sorry, it's a little windy. I bet.
Oh, you're good. I made a tier list of all of Mr. Girl's songs. Did you ever see that?
I do not think I saw that. No.
Do you have the stream up?
Not at the moment.
I have the list up. Maybe. Oh shit! I didn't mean to play it.
Alk asked me, "What do I think of British rap and Jamaican rap?" I haven't heard enough of Jamaican rap. And I haven't heard enough of British rap. Have very valid opinions, but from some of the artists I've heard from Britain, them motherfuckers are pretty damn good.
Like,
I think
have you heard
everyone.
Ren?
I think I have heard Ren. But yeah, I think I have to listen. I have to take myself out and like listen to more like different cultures that do like rap music because there's been some really fire songs. But like I don't know why I never try to explore that area. It's just never in my mind. But from what I've heard, yeah, okay.
Big time recommend Ren for British rappers.
Gotcha.
Dude is insane. First album, no studio back or nobody backing him or anything. Totally independent. #1 album in the
UK. Oh yeah, here's another like little take when I'm talking about Odd Futures, like old classic edgy rap lyrics. The only thing that I would say that they didn't touch upon, well, actually they did a little bit here or there, but they never got as far as I would say Mr. Girl did in terms of like Mr. Girl's edgy lyrics. He tackled the pedophilia stuff a little bit more, obviously. But it's not that Earl and Tyler never did that, but they did have like a couple bars here or there that indicated the raping fucking teenage girls that were underage. So yeah, they got pretty fucking edgy.
Oh.
They got pretty edgy. Let's see.
And they go left to right in order.
Okay. Turning on the brightness on my phone. I see cuties and S tier, or no, A tier.
Yep, the closer you get to the left is what makes me horny is A+ tier.
Okay, I feel like me personally, I'd put I kill pedophiles in S tier.
We were basically not allowed to put anything into S tier because for Tuna Chip, it was me, Kia Weird, and Tuna Chip. Tuna Chip's at S tier has to be, this fundamentally makes me understand music differently. So nothing could be S tier.
Oh, okay. I mean, I feel like S tier to me is just a really good song that I'll play over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Like, repeatedly. Like, never really getting sick of it. There's a lot of songs like that for me, but like, you have to be still like the quality of the song still has to be pretty exceptional.
But you think I Kill
Cuties,
Pedophiles is better than What Makes Me Horny?
Yeah, I think so, personally. I think What Makes Me Horny is not as catchy to me. It's not as like in your mind, you know? Like when you're starting off I Kill Pedophiles, you almost know word for word, right? With What Makes Me Horny, it's like, yeah, these are bars, but it's not as like in your mind, like ingrained there.
Oh no, I don't know.
For me at least.
Because I like a lot of like really technical stuff, and like not only that, it starts off, comes out so strong. This is Joe Rogan can suck my dick is the very first lyric, and I was like, oh, we're going hard out the gates here. Okay, and like puts you in the mood and it primes you for like what's coming up. Oh,
yeah, it's well, the fact that I forgot that is indicator to me that like it's great, but it's also like not something that like I have in my mind ingrained. I feel like I Kill Pedophiles is just something where I'm like, oh shit, like this is bars, and they're like really clever bars, but it's also like a really catchy song that I'll find myself humming, like unironically. Like I'm just like humming the fucking lyrics. What Makes Me Horny is definitely an A tier song for sure, but I don't know. It's just like it's never grabbed me quite like I Kill Pedophiles.
Interesting. I can accept that because I understand that like I Kill Pedophiles just has like that mass appeal factor too.
Yeah, I feel like and sometimes this feels unfair when I say this because there's a lot of songs that are technically like hit songs in music that are not as good as like other songs on the artist's discography. But like I like to reiterate this to a lot of people for very valid reasons. I feel like a hit song when it tracks, there's a reason it's a hit song, and I feel like there's a reason "I Kill Pedophiles" is probably Mr. Girl's most iconic song besides "I Can Fantasize About Whatever I Want." Like there's a reason. It's just like ingrained in your mind. You're wanting to sing that shit, and you're like, yeah, like that beats like perfect. Yeah, everything feels like it just hit the mark at the right time.
Fair enough.
I Can Fantasize About Whatever I Want is also S tier.
It's a good song.
It's deeply it's interesting. I don't know if it's as memorable in the same sense of I Kill Pedophiles, but it's definitely memorable for sure.
It comes out strong too.
Yeah, it comes out strong, and there's a deeper message to it where like I'm like, yeah, fuck the system kind of shit. Like that's the kind
the
of
real
feeling
message is just be yourself. Stop worrying about everybody else.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Which is kind of corny to say like that. I think he says it much better.
Yeah. Scapegoat. Fuck. I feel this is where my critiques come in.
It's my least favorite song on the album.
Fuck. I feel like an asshole for saying this, but it's just I like the message of the song, and I think there was a good song in there, but it felt weirdly. The delivery feels off for me. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I get it. I think it's the way that it starts off is a little weird.
And I feel like the beat is unique for sure, but it wasn't my favorite beat to go with the lyrics that he was, and especially the delivery with the lyrics. It felt like there was like pieces that were there that was just like this could fit somewhere else, but like these two things don't belong to each other. Like the beat and the lyrics don't belong to each other to me. And in my head when I'm listening to it, I'm like, damn, like if you put this somewhere else, maybe this would work better. I don't know. It's not a terrible song, but it feels more like a lower C for me.
Well, that's because it's left is better than the right on this, so Scapegoat was at the bottom.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't remember Boundaries very well. How did Boundaries go?
It starts off with the fact that I hit you says more about you than it says about me.
I think I like it more.
It's got that real heavy bass.
Yeah. I think I feel sort of the same about Boundaries as I do Scapegoat, but it feels like it fits a little bit more. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It feels like it works a little bit more. Like I see the direction more clearly. I think my most descriptive criticism of Mr. Girl is sometimes just the delivery of certain songs. I think more emotional songs, because when he's doing like something where it's just like rapping bars, even if like there's a deeper message, sometimes it is just like, yeah, I'm rapping bars and they're hard hitting. But like sometimes I feel like the deeper love emotional songs or something like that, there's something missing for me personally to get me connected more to it, even though I can see why other people would like it.
That makes sense. That seems like a fair critique.
Yeah. So that'd probably be like C tier too. Definitely higher than Scapegoat. Let's see. Hey cuties. That's cuties. That's pretty catchy.
I have a big system in my car. I got two 12-inch subs in my minivan, and it came on as I was pulling up to this college that I had to go do camera work in. I just thought that was the funniest shit ever.
I think Cuties is an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cuties is just like, I don't have all the lyrics memorized, but it's definitely something that when I listen to, I'm like, I want to memorize these lyrics. It brought me back to like old edgy Eminem or Odd Future days where I'm like, I just gotta memorize this and just rap along to like some edgy ass shit. What's the
I think I can fantasize about whatever I want was the edgiest one. I heard it. I was in public with earbuds in, and I got really nervous that somebody would hear me hearing it. And the first time I listened to it, I was like, "Oh God, oh what?" And I just sort of like looked left and right to make sure like nobody could hear what I was hearing.
Yeah. Emily Dickinson. I'm gonna have to re-listen to Emily Dickinson. I feel like I don't remember it very well, so I don't think it's very valid of me to place it anywhere really. But I feel like if I can't remember it very well, and I do remember not necessarily loving it, I feel like it's probably going to be on the C tier, if not lower. It probably will have to be lower. If I forget a song, usually that's an indicator that I'm like not wanting to revisit the song at all. As opposed to like Scapegoat and like Boundaries, I do feel like I played those songs like repeatedly to see like if I was like, sometimes I'll repeat a song because I'm like, I see where the pieces are. Maybe I'll enjoy this more. Maybe it'll grow on me. But I don't feel like I did that with Emily.
Oh, I liked it pretty good. I'm pretty big fan of that one. It's B tier.
Gotcha. What's the one with the blue on far A? Can't see it.
Oh, One More Day.
One More Day.
That's the last song on the album.
One More Day.
It's the song about not killing yourself.
Yeah, because I vaguely remember it. I think it'll probably have to be B. I think I liked it, but I wasn't in love with it or anything.
I asked Jimmy if he listens to Mr. Girl's music, and that's one of the songs he still listens to every day. And I was like, I get that.
Gotcha.
For me personally, I probably would have put it up higher on the list, but I was also contending with other people.
Gotcha. I feel like I have to revisit the album, but I do remember just like generally not hating the album, but feeling like, damn, like there's pieces here that are really cool and like deeper messages. And I just feel like I felt like, all right, I feel like he can grow from this and get better and better. It's just he needs to work on his delivery. That's mainly like the biggest critique I had is here's some things that like generally I feel like could work better, but he just needs more time practicing.
Okay. I don't have IDDQD on here because that wasn't out yet, but I would probably put that at an A tier.
Oh, that's definitely. I think that's definitely an A tier. Like that's one that I find myself IDDQ'd, even though I think that's one of them that I would critique a little bit more because I do feel like there's a weird flow at certain points of the song that felt disjointed. But generally, I like it.
That's again, I think one of his strongest skills when it comes to rapping is that he has the ability to start off a song so strong to where you're just gonna pay attention now. And in that one, he starts off by saying, "If you go back in time and kill mrgirl," so he makes himself Hitler.
Yeah.
When he was still a baby, would you do it? I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Oh my god, yeah. Somebody said Emery likes Biggie more than Pac. What did you think he would? Bro, I gotta be. This is my hottest take, and everyone hates me for it, and I understand why. It's just there's something about Tupac that I'm just like I don't really like his music. I don't get it. I don't understand it myself. I don't.
I'm not a fan of Tupac because I never really listened to him.
A lot of people really fucking hate this take, especially since I like Kendrick Lamar, and Kendrick Lamar is like super inspired by Pac. Like he was Tupac. That's his like idol. But for whatever reason, even though I respect him a lot as an artist, I just there's a like huge disconnect where like I'm like I don't like it. I don't care.
I understand that. Like I don't like Sean Cole at all.
Yeah.
And like he's considered to be like one of the best rappers ever, right?
Sean Cole?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Or wait, J. Cole. I'm sorry, J. Cole.
Oh yeah, no. See, I like J. Cole, but I also would recognize why people don't like him. That makes sense. Like,
I heard him on he was on like some radio show, and he did a freestyle, and I was like, oh, that's really good. Okay, and it was to promote his new album. I was like, I'll listen to his new album. I listened to half of it while I was driving somewhere, and I was like, this fucking sucks. I don't like any of this at all. So I just I tried, but nope.
Yeah, I like him. I think he's got a lot of skill. I think he's got a lot of good beat choices. Personally, I think he's in when you're talking about the generational top three, like at the moment of this generation, most people would say your top three would be like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and like J. Cole. And I feel I love Drake. I don't like him as a person. I think he's like a pretty bad person from what I can gather. But his music's catchy. I think he does have like pretty great wordplay when he actually wants to rap. I feel like he can make hit song after hit song, and that's actually super duper impressive for how long like he's been in the game for. Because most people like they die out after like I don't know 2-3 years. Even like legends don't last as long as like Drake, in terms of being able to like. He's almost on like Michael Jackson levels of like selling selling hit after hit after hit, and that takes a lot of fucking skill. I don't really care what anyone says about like ghostwriters or whatever. Like Kanye had tons of ghostwriters too. Kanye's a goat as well. Kanye is one of the best artists of all time as well. But
Not a fan.
Kanye's a better artist than Drake, but Drake is like probably a better pen writer than like Kanye.
I never heard a Kanye song when I was like, oh, I love this ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I think.
But again, I'm super picky about rap.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I like I like a lot of different things about rap. I don't know. I think I'm just a lot more ingrained in the culture where like I grew up with this shit. So like I've just listened to so much, been open to so much shit that like it's easier for me to like listen to, and even if I don't like something from a rap artist, I'm usually just like thinking like, yeah, like this guy can improve on this and this. Yeah, I don't know.
I think a lot of the reasons why I like and dislike what I like is because historically I've been like I've written a lot, do a lot of writing in my life, so I think I focus more on how clever the lyrics are.
Yeah. Um,
Also
I don't know.
impact.
I feel like all the rappers I listed, I feel like there's more to it for you than that. Because I feel like the rappers I listed to you, it has to be about beat choice as well.
Well, I
Because these
impact is
rappers
part
are
of it
pretty damn
too.
good in terms of like writing. Like I feel like they deliver really great bars most times, especially someone like Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole.
Well, yeah, like I said, they can be good at lyrics, but I
Mhm.
like when a rapper comes out and has just like this huge impact
Yeah.
and like makes you pay attention. I think that's a really big part of. That's why I kind of focused on that those parts of the Mr. Girl songs when I went over the tier list. Uh,
Mhm.
like if you can pull me in on the very first line, I'm like that's impressive. I
Yeah.
really like that. This is like a really good skill in terms of writing. Is that you can make people care immediately as soon as you
Mhm.
start. Like I like that a lot.
Yeah. See, as much as I like Mr. Girl's uh like when he's on his A game, I
Mm-hmm.
still don't think he reaches even like a fraction of like the lyrical talent of like even like my bottom 50 rappers. So I don't know. Like I guess I just like listen to so much rap where I'm like I has so much like knowledge and experience of like learning how like you're supposed to rap in the first place, freestyle especially, or just making a song, that like I've been able to like listen to so many different styles and aesthetics and be open to those ideas that like I feel like I have a better idea of how to judge when a song is generally good to me, at least to me, to like proficiently be able to articulate like this is why I think this person could do better. Um, and most times somebody would be like, "Yeah, I can see why you would say that." I don't know.
Hmm. That makes sense. I guess I just don't have like enough background with it. It's just I started listening to rap when I was like 13 and then
Yeah,
didn't again for like and then stopped when I was like 17 and then didn't again until like 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
Peace out. Oh,
Um, I'd also say like nowadays I listen to a lot more different genres. I mean, I've always like listened to different genres uh, besides hip hop. But like I've been like diversifying a lot more like in the past 5 years. So like I just learned a lot about music in general, or at least I listened to like different ways a song can grab you, rather than like what I used to think. Like I think I used to have like a little bit more closed minded of like what can grab me immediately in a song. I think I used to hate country music, for example, like despise it.
yeah.
But I've been more open to how a country song like can like when it can really be impactful. For instance, I feel like when I'm listening to something, um, and it brings a certain mood, I'm like, oh shit, like I can feel that mood. Like I understand what this artist is going for. Like the fucking horses song, uh, horse and no horse with no name. That song's like more of a country song, but that has more of an emotional resonant like underlying theme. I don't know. It's yeah, it's hard to describe, but
Yeah, I don't like I just don't like country. It got thrust upon me a lot when I was younger and I was
mm,
never a fan. But I I always try to explain to people like I understand what people who like it get out of it.
yeah,
That's just not what I'm looking to get out of music usually.
yeah, yeah. Man. All right. Well, I gotta get some sleep.
Yeah. All right. Take it easy, man.
To...
It's nice talking to you, Emery. This is the first time, right?
Yeah. Like well, technically no, but actual sit down, like talk. Yeah.
We've
Pretty much.
spoken in VC before.
Yeah, I think it was way back, but it was, remember when you guys you, Smith, and what's his name, all sat down to like about with Mr. Grohl about the report thing.
The interrogation stream?
Yeah. Well, I came in there and I was a bit hostile.
Oh. So I actually don't, and I will let you go just a second. I just want to explain to you.
Sure.
I take Adderall daily, and I'm on a high dose because I'm a broken human being. Okay, my brain just doesn't work. I'm on 80 milligrams a day, and I couldn't get any of the pharmacies around me to fill my script. There was like a shortage, and it was that day that I finally got my meds, and it was like halfway through. So I was like 3 days of like withdrawing and just like brain being broken and miserable and having terrible withdrawals. And like at noon that day, I got it. So like that's why I barely had any questions and stuff. I was supposed to write all my questions 2 days prior, and I couldn't. And so I was just like fucking dead, dude.
Well, I came in there with a hostile intent to you guys, mainly not because like, oh, I hate you fucking guys. Like, I mean, I hated you in the moment because I was like, well, here's why. I came in there and I was just like, okay, like this is in the middle of like Mr. Girl kind of getting a lot of fucking criticism from DGG. And at that moment, I felt like, even though I understood like the intent, I still felt like it was an inappropriate time for Mr. Girl to be receiving that kind of criticism, even in good faith, where it was just like he's getting pile on. And I was just kind of like, dude, like I'm so fucking sick of like seeing all this shit. Like it was really frustrating to me. So I think even though I think I shouldn't have done that, like the hostile reaction was I felt like I was being defensive for Mr. Girl in that sense, because I was just like, I'm just so sick of it, and I was just like, I need even though I understand the intent, it's just like frustrating to see.
I actually thought of that as us defending Mr. Girl. I think it showed everybody that his community wasn't the kind of community that just lays down and accepts everything that he does. And that he does, there is somebody that's going to hold him to task and make sure that he has the right intentions and all that, which I think was super needed then.
Yeah, I think in the retrospect, I understood the intent much more clear, especially a little bit after I left. I was just like, oh shit, like I probably should have calmed down a little bit, because like I kind of do understand like what they're going for, but at the same time I was just like, oh my god, dude, like I saw like constant criticism and like a lot of unfair criticism, and I'm just like, oh my god, like out of all times where we're going to like sit down and have like the good faith critique, and it felt like messy, like with Smith and everyone, like it just felt like a weird time, and I was just like, fuck, like I'm so frustrated right now, like even though I understood that technically, especially you and Smith, we're not really like attacking him. It just felt like in that moment where I'm like, dude, like
I thought Smith could have been a bit more attacky, to be honest.
Yeah. It was in a moment kind of thing. So I do apologize for that. I know you probably don't remember that later. But generally speaking, I think I used to view you in a frame of like what's the best way of putting it? I don't think I respected you very much, because I always saw you as kind of like a little bit too timid with Mr. Girl. Like not in the sense of like timid as in you're afraid of him, but it felt like when there's criticism that needed to be levied, it felt like you were a little bit more
simpy.
Yeah. And then I was like, so like that was frustrating, but then it was also it was also frustrating to see like a Smith follow that lead too, because I felt like it's like, okay, like we need to find this balance of like, yeah, we can critique Mr. Girl, but we can't attack him. And it felt like you were more so like on the too much good faith, where I'm like, I need Elder to bring a little bit more spice at times. Like you know what I mean? Like I felt like Smith brought that spice at times. that was my mind frame of like, shit, like I feel like Elder's just like passive. Like what the fuck is he doing? You know?
I feel like if you're too spicy with him, he just won't. Like you have to match his energy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you go nowhere.
Yeah, I for sure, especially after talking to him, and a lot of people would tell me like, "Oh, dude, you're simping for him. Like you're sucking his dick," and I'm like, I don't like. Okay, I understand some of the calls are being a little bit too much. So I relate with you on that area where it's like you gotta find this middle ground because sometimes first of all, it's not entertaining to Mr. Girl, and it's not entertaining to yourself because there's like, if you're agreeing with him too much, it's not very good content.
Right. It's not.
But you're also trying to find that middle ground where you're like, okay, I'm trying to be good faith, but also critical with you. So I felt like at times I found that even when aggressive. So yeah.
Well, all right, man. I'll let you get to sleep. It was nice talking to you.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Peace out.
Like.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stop for now. In the middle of the day tomorrow, I'm going to pick up where I left off on the other one. It's really late. I know I started late. So I'm gonna just pick that up tomorrow, where people can actually join in and interact with the Destiny Fuentes thing. Yeah, it's just late. And I don't think it's like the optimal time to be streaming.